For years, the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series has provided a forum of excellence for big block pilots. The 358 class who aspired to be more had to challenge them on their turf. 3 years ago, a 358 class Super Dirt Series was born to showcase its talent, but the big block stars took it over. Well, no more. An uprising in the 358 ranks has spawned huge victories, especially Jimmy Hauser's devastation of the big block stars at Syracuse. Tonight, the dam is gonna break. There's a rumble on the river, and it's live on Sports Channel.
Dirt tracking, born in the cornfields and lower 40s of rural America. Dirt tracking, the cornerstone of racing. The early barnstormers put it all on the line to satisfy their thirst for speed. Now, their great-grandchildren carry the torch with the same spirit and thirst. 700 horsepower rips the earth. For 1 hour, nothing else matters. It'll raise the hair on the back of your neck. Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are live at Montgomery County Fairgrounds and the Track Up Champions, Fonda Speedway in Fonda, New York, for the Coca-Cola Rumble 2. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan. Tonight's 75-lap Skull Racing Super Dirt Series event on Rush Hour spotlights a different class of dirt modified racing, the 358s. Joining me is Dirt Motorsports race analyst Gary Montgomery. And Gary, what is the difference between a 358 and a big block modified?
Motors and the size of those motors. 358 is a common displacement for a small block Chevrolet, bored out just a little bit. 350 cubic inch Chevrolet. We've also got a 360 cubic inch Chrysler in the field and a 351 cubic inch Ford. The difference in cubic inches relates to a difference in horsepower. These cars produce about 500 horsepower. The big block modifieds over 800 horsepower. However, the speed differential isn't noticeable.
Now, this is a small block series, but it's been dominated by the names of the big blocks.
And the reason for that is money. This is a professional series. We've got professional drivers. They'd run go-karts if they had to for money. There's $30,000 at stake here tonight. The winners share $10,000. That'll bring them all out, and they are all here.
Now, covering the pits and victory lane for us on Rush Hour is Cowboy Paul Small, and he has more on tonight's Block Party.
He's the 4-time Mr. Dirt Modified champion in this 358 division, so he's definitely a lethal weapon in a small block modified. We're talking about Pat O'Brien. Pat, races like this where the big bucks are on the line, the big block drivers tend to come in and steal a lot of the loot. Does that leave you frustrated?
Well, not really. Of course, I'd like to get it, but it keeps you sharp racing with them guys. You know, they're all good guys to race with, and makes you feel a little better whenever you beat them.
Do you look forward to challenging the big block drivers when they show up at races like this?
Oh yeah, you know, definitely. You're only as good as whoever you race with, and you know, I like to race with them more and more if I could, but you know, my schedule doesn't permit it. But we really enjoy it as a team.
How about tonight? You won your qualifying heat convincingly. This car looks real fast.
Yeah, but unfortunately, my luck at the draw as usual. We're starting 16th, so you know, we're going to pick away at it and see what we can do. Hopefully, we can come up big.
Watch for this number 6 car to come up from that 16th position in tonight's Rumble. Doug?
Now, a look at the Skull 358 Series points picture after 4 races reflects the success of the big block drivers.
Kenny Tremont leads all others. He's a 2-time champion of the series, having won in 1993 and 94. Danny Johnson stands second in the standings. He was a winner at Ransomville earlier this summer. The 1995 358 champion is Alan Johnson. Timmy Fuller, who was the Mr. Dirt champion for 358s back in 1993, is 4th. AJ Romano, the defending Rumble champion, stands in 5th. Frank Cozy, who won at Middletown earlier this summer, is in position number 6 in the point standings. In 7th is Steve Payne. Payne is a 3-time champion. He's in 7th. Patty O'Brien, the first of the 3 legitimate 358 drivers, is 8th in the standings. Jerry Higbee out of Middletown, New York, is 9. Timmy Dwyer, a former Mr. Dirt Sportsman champion, is 10. Chuck LaPresti and Danny O'Brien rounds out the top 12.
All right, when we come back, we will be ready to rumble. This is Rush Hour live on Sports Channel. Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by CarQuest Auto Parts Stores, Budweiser, Racing Electronics, Wildfire, Cape Canaveral Cruise Line, Bob Hilbert Sportswear, Hoosier Racing Tires, Sunoco Race Fuels, and by Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. We are live at Fonda Speedway for the Coca-Cola Rumble 2. Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery, and we have been looking at storm clouds all day long. Let's take a look at the weather forecast right now. We have a very balmy 68 degrees. Look at that humidity, 89%. The winds calm. Forecast only a 30% chance of rain. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Gary, how about that track description?
It's a great racetrack tonight. It's a half-mile egg-shaped oval. The turns are banked 4 degrees.
Now for the latest word on our track condition, let's go down to Cowboy Paul Small.
We've got a beautiful racetrack in store for tonight, Doug. It is heavy, wet, and tacky. It may dry out a little bit, but there is a killer cushion built up on the outside of this speedway surface. Should be a good show tonight. Now, if you've been watching the Olympics, you obviously know about the Dream Team. We thought we'd introduce you to the Dream Team for the 358 Modified Skull Series. This Doherty Brothers number 21 has won all 3 championships on the 358 Skull Series trail, and 2-time 358 Skull champion Kenny Tremont is back behind the wheel of this car. Kenny, is it the race car or the team that makes this such an outstanding combination?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, I've got a great team, which in turn will make a great race car. So I've been fortunate enough to have both a good car and a good team.
Kenny Tremont going from the number 11 starting position, looking for another victory on the 358 Skull Series trail tonight. Doug?
We'll keep an eye on number 21, Kenny Tremont. Well, our race analysis. Fonda Speedway, 75-lap event. Caution laps count until the final 3. 29 cars in the field, $10,000 to win, and the total purse nearly $30,000. And now it's time for racing's magic words. Let's go to the front of the pack. Here's Coca-Cola's John Alexander.
Gentlemen, should I start now? Gentlemen, start your engines.
And the engines are started here at Fonda Speedway. Our rush hour on dirt pace car by Chevrolet is set to lead our starting grid, and the top 3 finishers in tonight's 6 heats drew for their starting positions. And in row 1, it's the number 64 of Dwaynesburg, New York's Jack Johnson. This 52-year-old is a 10-time Fonda champion. Outside row 1, it's the 1H of Pat Ward.
The second row starters are the Hurricane Steve Payne. He's one of Dirt's busiest drivers. He's driving the 60 cubic inch Chrysler powered car. Alongside is Doug Hoffman, a former Mr. Dirt modified champion.
On to row 3, current Fonda points leader Dave Camara, the number 26, and the 97 of Jerry Higbee Jr.
Back in row 4 on the inside, a driver that's familiar to all of you. He's looking for his 100th career 358 modified race tonight. That's Brett Hearn. Alongside is Danny Johnson, Daring Dan, the stock car man, winner of the 358 Skull race at Ransomville earlier this summer.
Row 5, Rich Ricky Jr. and the man who won our Thunder 5 here at Fonda back on June 27th, Jimmy Horton.
Back in row 6 on the inside will be car 21. That's Kenny Tremont. You just heard from him. He's a 2-time 358 Skull champion. And Dana Wagner's alongside in car number 25W.
Row 7, it's Todd Burley and the 1Z of Fonda regular Ray Zemkin.
Lebanon Valley Speedway champion Billy Decker sits inside of row number 8. Alongside is Patty O'Brien out of Kingston, Ontario.
Row 9, A.J. Romano, defending champion of this race, and Frank Cozy.
10th row on the inside is A.J. Slideways Alan Johnson driving that Hot Rod Lincoln tonight, the special SVO Ford-powered car. Alongside is Chuck LaPresti out of Middletown, New York.
Row 11, the 33 of Jeff Hetzler, and the 19 of Kenny Brightbill.
Timmy Fuller, another driver that doubles up and races both big blocks and small blocks. He's on the inside of row 12. Danny O'Brien, the Pocket Rocket, will start in position number 24.
Row 13, it's Mike Caravino and Mike Romano.
Row 14 on the inside will be C.D. Couville. Alongside is the racing veteran Buzzy Ruderman out of Zephyr Hills, Florida.
And row 15. There's Buzzy Ruderman on our screen. Tim Dwyer out of Gloversville, New York, 32 years of age, currently standing 10th in the Skull 358 points.
The in-car camera tonight is being carried by the 74 Frank Cozy, the Smith Brothers Masonry car. That's the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera. We'll be seeing some great shots from Cozy in the CarQuest camera.
There's a look forward in the car of Frank Cozy, number 74. Sponsored by CarQuest Auto Parts, and it provides such wonderful pictures during the heat of battle here at Fonda. So get ready to rumble as the starting grid now heads down the front straightaway into turn 1, and we are ready to go racing. Small block 358 style from Fonda. Here is a look at the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera out the back side of the number 74 of Frank Cozy. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Cayuga County, and we saw some wonderful pictures out of this angle.
Absolutely. That back bumper is a very, very popular place to be. Everybody trying to get to the front bumper, and we'll see some shots from all over the CarQuest number 74, Frank Cozy, the driver.
Jack Johnson and Pat Ward lead the field out of turn 4 down the front straightaway. Starter Terry Polshan looks over these roaring monsters as the green flag comes out, and Rumble 2 is on. On the outside, Pat Ward has the lead. Jack Johnson is in second, and there's Doug Hoffman trying to get Johnson on the backstretch.
Hoffman goes up on the outside. The leader is Pat Ward. He won the drag race, and he'll lead lap number 1 if he can hold on. This is the first time he's ever been in this car. He picked it up here earlier tonight.
And Terry Ward leads lap number 1. Then it's Doug Hoffman and Jack Johnson across the starting line.
Hoffman on the outside, not necessarily the fast way here in the early going. We'll see how it works. He runs against Jack Johnson, the pole sitter. Johnson on the bottom, Hoffman up on top. Hoffman in his own car tonight, the Hoffman Brothers Speed Equipment Car 60 Troyer car. Hearn and Kane, Steve Payne, you just saw him in your camera. He's at 4, challenging that race for 2. Pat Ward, a second-generation driver out of Genoa, New York, driving the Terry Huff car number 1, the McNeil chassis car. Here we see the shot out of Frank Cozy over his shoulder as we see him racing off into turn number 3. He now goes to the outside of Dana Wagner, trying to pick up a spot.
And he just might be able to do it. There's a look at Wagner. This is a battle for 12th. And the shot provided by the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera back to the front of the pack, where Pat Ward screams out of turn 4. Down the front straightaway. We are 4 laps into our 75-lap championship.
A great battle at the head of the pack. Doug Hoffman has successfully made the pass of Jack Johnson now. You can see Payne running in position number 4 as they hustle down that very treacherous back straightaway. Showing in position number 5 was David Camara in the red number 26 car. Here we see a shot of the Jerry Higbee car. He's about to be passed now. We go to another shot now. Here we've got Jimmy Horton working on the inside of Kenny Tremont. Tremont in the red and white 21, Horton in the yellow and white number 87, and there is Brett Hearn in the red and white car, Auto Palace car 20 tonight.
Payne trying to work on Jack Johnson.
That was the battle for the number 3 spot, but Camara is right there working on Payne, so Payne's got to be careful. Does he go for the spot, or does he protect his own position? Here you see Hoffman working the inside of Pat Ward as they run down the back straightaway.
So the battle for position is up front. Now there's Higbee as he's into turn 3 and now turn 4, then cutting down the front straightaway. Higbee is currently running 6th in the number 97.
He's about, oh, there we see contact was made as David Camara runs over a wheel, and he spins to the outside of the racetrack at turn 2. David Camara, who put on such a great show here in the event earlier this summer, has a problem. He bounces to the outside of the racetrack. Apparently no damage to the Slate Express, and the Pulteney, Vermont driver will pull away with his TO chassis car.
Dave gave us such a wild finish to that race, that Thunder 5 that was won by Jimmy Horton, but Camara was right on Horton's back bumper. Now Dave is 27 years of age, a 2-time big block winner here at Fonda this year, and current points leader. Our first caution coming on lap 8. And we have a replay of the Camara incident between 1 and 2. He gets into Payne.
We talked earlier about Payne protecting the position or going for the spot. There you saw all three of those drivers battling for position number 3, and it simply didn't work, and Camara comes out on the short end of the stick. He hasn't run a small block very often this summer. He's been concentrating on the big blocks and doing a great job there, but he's quick no matter what he drives.
Now Camara does remain on the lead lap, but he goes to the back of the pack.
He's not at all happy about that. He'd like to pick it up right where he fell into position, but that's not the way it works via the rule book, so he'll go to the back of the package.
You get the feeling, though, there's time.
Oh, we've got Jack Johnson on pit road. There's a real surprise. Jack Johnson driving the Mike Budka Napa Auto Parts car, running second at the time of the incident. I don't think he was involved. Well, maybe. That could be the reason he's on pit road. I'm sure Paul Small will check that out for us. But Jack Johnson, 10-time champion, jumps into the Mike Budka car for a run here tonight, but he has a problem here in the early going.
It could be just a right rear tire change. We'll see. But remember, these caution laps count until the final 3. So Jack Johnson is squarely behind the 8 ball as his car is up on the jack in the pits. Back to the front of the pack, and we have Pat Ward in the 1H, and in the red number 60, that is 1991 Mr. Dirt Doug Hoffman.
Now, the Dirt Motorsports organization, Doug, the leader has his lane choice. The leader, Pat Ward, has chosen the outside for the restart. So he looks like he's second, but actually that's his decision. He will go the outside in the Terry Huff Bicknell car number 1H. Running in the number 3 spot now is Steve Payne. Danny Johnson is up to 4. Higby runs in 5. Then it's the Doherty brothers car with Kenny Tremont at the keyboard running in position number 6. Back in 7 is Brett Hearn. 8 is the 87 of Horton. 9 is Cozy in 74. And rounding out the top 10 is Mike Rickey, car 55.
And that is an update from the screen. Meanwhile, Jack Johnson, we understand, out of the pits, and he currently is said to be remaining on the lead lap. Mighty big for Jack Johnson, and mighty big as well for the 26 of Dave Camara as the green flag flies once again. We're racing at Fonda.
Doug Hoffman won the drag race and moves out front in a hurry. I'm sure that Pat Ward would like to draw that one over again, but Hoffman leads, and now Ward is being challenged by Danny Johnson. The doctor makes a move on the inside. Can he make the pass or not? They're in turn number 4, and there is Danny. He'll take over the number 2 spot and puts Pat Ward back in 3.
Wasn't that smooth by Danny Johnson?
He is not known necessarily for being smooth. He's known for being quick, but that was a smooth and quick move as he takes over position number 2.
And Pat Ward has continued to slip here as Kenny Tremont is charging.
Also charging is Alan Johnson. Here we see him in the middle, actually in the inside of a 3-way battle. Dana Wagner in the blue number 25. Hetzler on the outside. They've caught Todd Burley's car number 89, but there you see Alan Johnson, who's had to run a consolation to qualify here tonight. He had a problem in his heat. He won the conce. He's trying to thread his way through the field. He is now just past Dana Wagner in car number 25. He'll set his sights on the 33. That's the Smitty's Reclamation car. Jeff Hetzler out of Wallkill, New York, the driver of that automobile.
Alan Johnson currently stands 15th. As we take a look further in the pack, there's Alan Johnson, and there's a car stopped on the racetrack.
That's Timmy Fuller, the Kinney Drugstore's car, up against the wall in turn number 1. No damage, and he'll pull away, but not until after the caution flag flies here on lap number 15.
Now our heat winners this evening: Todd Burley, Dave Camara, Brett Hearn, Pat O'Brien, Billy Decker, and Rich Rickey Jr. And as you mentioned, Gary Montgomery, one of our consolation winners, Alan Johnson, the other Chuck Lepresti. Well, we are at Fonda Speedway, Fonda, New York, and Rush Hour will continue with more of the Rumble 2 from Fonda live on Sport.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are live at Fonda Speedway for the Coca-Cola Rumble 2, and it was a short night tonight for 10-time Fonda champion Jack Johnson. He's down in the pits with Cowboy Paul Small.
Jack, 2 stop-and-go stops, and then you park the car. What happened?
Well, I don't really know what happened. I got hooked together with somebody, or maybe the cushion up there in the first turn, and car vibrated real bad after that. The right rear tire went down, so I pulled it in.
The all-time leading feature winner of Fonda is out of the Rumble. Doug?
We are rumbling once again. Doug Hoffman has the lead. And Danny Johnson goes for a pass and can't get it done in turn 2.
Kenny Tremont is right there as well. We've got a tight three-way battle up front, not far back. In 4 is Brett Hearn. There you can see Alan Johnson working the outside as he and there's Billy Decker just in front. Alan Johnson running alongside of Jeff Hessel. Run down Billy Decker.
We talked about the big block versus the small block situation. Big block regulars currently hold the top 7 spots. Jerry Higbee is the first 358 regular, and he runs currently in position number 8.
Here we see the battle for the lead. Doug Hoffman in car 60 over. That used to be called 60 over, and that's because it started in small blocks with a 60 over small block Chevrolet. This is driving a car that he and his brother Keith own. They operate out of their speed shop down in Allentown, Pennsylvania. But Danny Johnson in the Ray Bramble Freightliner of Newburgh's car is alongside, side by side. That is poetry in motion at over 100 miles an hour, closer than they park their haulers in the parking lot, and Danny comes up with the lead.
And that is what dirt modified racing is all about right there, sliding through the turns, and Danny Johnson has the lead over Doug Hoffman, and now Johnson tries to distance himself just a little bit down the backstretch.
There we see Brett Hearn working on the inside. He's trying to pick up a spot as he goes to the inside of Kenny Tremont. Side by side is the battle for the number 3 spot now. Tremont outside, Hearn on the inside. Side by side, they go charging off into turn number 1.
Hearn gets the position from Tremont.
Clear, clear. Okay, the bottom is better. The bottom is better.
And we are hearing race communications.
Somebody's telling somebody, one of their drivers, that the bottom is better. That couldn't Hearn spotter because Hearn is on the bottom and he picked up the spot. So obviously right now the track conditions indicating the bottom line is a bit faster. We saw that perhaps on the restart when Hoffman took the lead from the inside earlier on.
And just after the pass you heard the word clear. You are clear, and that's Brett Hearn's word from up top that he can close the door on Kenny Tremont, and he has done just that.
Again, this is the battle for 3rd. Hearn now has it. Tremont falls back to 4. Out front, Doug Hoffman, Hoffman running 2nd, with Danny Johnson the race leader. $9 grand Dan. He's got that thing wound up to about 9,000 RPMs right now, storming down the back straightaway. The deal with 358 racing is finesse. They generally keep their foot on the gas all the way around, or most all the way around. They wind them all the way up as far as they'll go, and that's the reason for the $9 grand Dan. He'll get his up to about 9,000 RPMs and keep it there all night long if it'll last. Here we see Pat Ward again, dicing it out with the winner here earlier this summer, Jimmy Horton in the yellow and white car. The blue and white and yellow car is Pat Ward.
That's a battle for 6th. Ward started front row outside, and he slowly but surely has been falling back in the pack.
Back, but not out of it at all. And this is a real success story here, Doug. This is a combination that just came together yesterday, as a matter of fact. Bob Stapleton, an engine builder down in Elmira, New York, builds the engines for both the Terry Huff car number 1H and Pat Ward's cars. Pat doesn't have a small block car. Huff was not all that experienced. He's, in fact, has no experience here at the Speedway. He is the hired gun for Terry Huff here this evening. So the first time he'd ever been in the car was when he hot lapped it here earlier tonight. He's doing a great job with it, running in position number 6.
Horton once again, Tess Ward. This is Jimmy Horton's scanner we're picking up.
Okay, I believe they were telling that he had 6 car lengths or 6 seconds on Billy Decker. I'm not sure what the
6 car lengths on Decker, and you see the 91 Billy Decker behind Horton and Ward's battle. And that 6 might be 5 here any second.
I don't think he's worried about who's behind him right now. He's worried about the guy in front of him. He's trying to run down Pat Ward, who's got a nice line, a little over the cushion. I'm surprised it'll work way out there, but obviously it's working for Pat Ward. Here we go back to the head of the pack now. We've had a position change. Hearn has moved into the number 2 spot. The red and white car, Hearn, trying to run down Danny Johnson. Danny's car primarily white, a little red trim. Hearn's is just the opposite, running back in the 3rd spot. There's the all red 60 over car, Doug Hoffman.
Brett Hearn closes in on the leader, Danny Johnson. Now in lap traffic. Look at Hearn weave his way through. Now test the outside. Danny Johnson continues to command the #1 spot. Now Hearn did not compete in Tuesday's 358 Skull event at Can-Am due to fuel problems in the heat. But he is warming things up here for us on rush hour as he's now on the back bumper of Danny Johnson.
Some great racing as they thread their way through the field. They've just passed Buzzy Ruderman in the 00 car. You saw Cozy at number 74 going lap down. Cozy made a pit stop here under caution a few laps ago for a tire change. That put him in the back of the pack, gave up a lot of valuable track position. It's now cost him a lap to leaders. Danny has made it through the heavy traffic faster, and he is now owns about a car length advantage over Hearn. But again, you're hearing Hearn's spotter tell him that he's got a 5-spot position over Hoffman now.
We have the scanner of Brett Hearn. Let's listen.
5 lead.
Well, no chatter right now as everybody's well, now they go back on the scanner.
Hearn on the outside, running the high groove, trying to close in on Danny Johnson. Remember, Brett is looking for his 100th career Dirt 358 victory. He's the all-time leader. Tries the inside. Can he do it? Danny Johnson continues to lead, but Hearn pressing hard into turn 3.
Lap traffic is the name of the game as they just put a lap on the slowing Timmy Fuller car down on the bottom of the racetrack. So Hearn, you've seen him run top and bottom. And turn number 1 a couple laps ago, he was way down. In fact, caught the berm on the inside. There you see him way down on the bottom again, entering turn number 1. Lets it drift up a little bit as they go into turn 2.
This is a classic confrontation that fans at Orange County Fair Speedway saw weekly from 1992 to 94. Danny Johnson and Brett the Jet Hearn dueling it out. Look at Hearn down low.
Lap traffic on the bottom.
Can't make the pass, however. There's a slow car down there. You heard the spotter telling him that. Going back to that Orange County story, Doug, a few years ago, they allowed the 358 driver or big block modified drivers to race in the 358 division on a regular basis down in Orange County, and these guys decimated the field. They changed the rules so that they could only run in one class. The big blocks pay more, so these guys both move up to the big block division and race there exclusively.
We are just past the midway point of our 75-lap championship race, and Hearn tests the outside on Danny Johnson. Down the front straightaway. Has he done it? Yes, Brett Hearn has the lead.
He's made the pass, and rather slick move and just plain outward Danny, and takes over the number 1 spot. I thought they would catch traffic first, but this thing is far from over, Doug. They've got heavy traffic all the way around the racetrack. Here comes Danny charging on the inside. 9 Grand Dan or Daring Dan or Dr. Dan, whatever you want to call him. Danny Johnson doesn't like second. He'll try to run down Hearn here as we continue to operate. We're now on lap number 41.
On the top.
That's Mike Caravino's car going down a lap on the outside. Caravino on the outside of the 24.
On the top.
And now Hearn tests the lead, and Danny Johnson is putting the moves on the outside. Boy, what great competition here at Fonda as Johnson has a little bit of an edge in turn 2. And let's see if Hearn can hang on. Danny Johnson puts a nose in front to regain the lead.
It was a matter there of which of the lap cars was going to go a little faster, and it was the outside Todd Burley that went faster. That's who Danny had chosen to pick as his dancing mate, and it paid off as now Danny will put a lap on the Burley car, the yellow car on the bottom. But meanwhile, Doug Hoffman has caught the leaders. We got the top 3 running under a blanket in heavy traffic as they rumble down the back straightaway. Danny leads Hearn. That's Burley's lap car down on the bottom of the racetrack, but Hoffman is about 3 car lengths back, and right behind him is the 21 of Kenny Tremont. Doug, this is a great show.
Our Rumble 2 is just that tonight at Fonda, and we have a huge crowd enjoying this one.
Danny Johnson driving a Troyer car, Hearn's car built by his brother Bobby. They call theirs the Tio chassis, Tio Pro chassis car. So we got a chassis battle here. Precision built the Chevrolet for Danny Johnson, and a File built the Chevrolet for Hearn as they battle for 1 and 2. Look back in the pack a little bit here. We see Jimmy Horton going at it with Alan Johnson. Hetzler in the 33, and they're trying to put past the 91 of Billy Decker.
Okay, we're halfway. Come on. More than halfway.
Competition
Lap
here.
50 coming up. Let's go. Come on, man. Let's pick it up.
Horton down the front straightaway.
How'd you like to be going 100 and some miles an hour in this kind of traffic and have your spotter tell you to hurry up, Doug?
Pick it up, will you?
Easy for him to say.
This battle up front with Danny Johnson and Brett Hearn involves the two winningest drivers all time in the Skoal 358 wins. Brett with 9, Danny with 7. Battle now with Billy Decker for the 6th position. He's driving the number 91.
I think Decker's just fallen back to the number 7 spot as Horton has made the pass. So Horton will go to 6. Decker falls back to 7. There's Alan Johnson rubbing wheels with the Hetzler in a 33 car. They're trying to lap both the Zemkin car number 1, that's a white car, and Dana Wagner in the blue number 25.
Meanwhile, the number 14, Alan Johnson, is on the charge.
He started back in position number 19. He's currently in position number 7 with that hot rod Lincoln. This is the special vehicles operation. That's SVO, Ford Motor Company. It's a experimental program. Pat Morrison has built the engine. The car has been raced twice and has won both of those races. This is his 3rd race ever. Right now, he'd like a caution, let things collect and get a clear racetrack in front of him.
We are 2/3 the way through our 75-lap 358 Skoal Series championship race. And the leader continues to be Danny Johnson as we take a look at Billy Decker and Alan Johnson battling on the race course.
A.J. Slideway started racing when he was 16 years old. They put him in a race car. He'd never driven a standard transmission car any place before. He practiced in the parking lot at Canandaigua before they started that race, driving for Tom Ewing back in, I think that was 1973 or 72, something like that.
Decker on the outside, Alan Johnson on the inside. Who will get the bite into the turns? And it's Alan Johnson who continues to hold the position.
Makes the pass on the inside. That's a brand new Bicknell car. We talked about it being a Ford powered car, but it's a Bicknell chassis. Pete Bicknell on St. Catharines, Ontario. They called him Mr. Small Block for a number of years. He won a lot of small block races. He does a lot of racing and winning now, but he's really turned his attention to building race cars. He's got a lot of them in the field here tonight, and probably the fastest one right now is the 14J, the Bill Trout owned Trout Lincoln Mercury Hot Rod Lincoln of A.J. Slideways.
In the number 14, then the number 91 of Billy Decker, the 33 of Jeff Hetzler. 53 laps in the books. The leader continues to be Danny Johnson in the number 6. We'll be back with more of Rumble 2 from Fonda Speedway live on Sports. Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery live at Fonda Speedway for the Coca-Cola Rumble 2, and we have 59 laps in the books, and we have a caution for debris on the track, and the leader is Danny Johnson, and right in his back bumper, Brett Hearn.
Doug Hoffman stands in 3rd, Kenny Tremont 4, Steve Payne 5, then it's Jimmy Horton and Alan Johnson, Hetzler, Decker, and Higbee rounding out the top 10. That's after 59 laps.
This is the 3rd caution of our race, and it packs everybody up with just 15 laps to go. What a shootout this is going to be.
It packs them all up together, as you say, but probably most important, Doug, and now the leaders have a clean racetrack, at least for a few laps. There has been such a heavy traffic problem here almost all race long, but now the clean racetrack will allow the leaders to get away and have some great racing all by themselves. You see the lap car down on the bottom. That's the car that started outside the front row, Pat Ward.
More great racing coming right up. Let's take a look. Lebanon Valley Speedway. CarQuest Auto Parts presents the World of Outlaws. Tuesday, August 6th. Sprint cars 30 laps, modified 30 laps. And then get ready for Thursday, August 8th. Busch Beer presents Mr. Dirt Track USA for the modified 75 lappers. It will be a rush hour event on Sports Channel. $17,500 to win. $10,000 to win out of a $30,000 purse here. And up front, there's the number 6 of Danny Johnson.
Daring Dan, the stock car man, won the 358 school race at Ransomville earlier this summer. He was second on Tuesday evening to older brother Alan. He gets the job done, whether it be big blocks or small blocks. And standing second is Hearn, who does it as well, both big blocks and small blocks.
And right behind him, the 60 of Doug Hoffman.
Kenny Tremont, the two-time 358 champion, stands in fourth as we get ready to get back to green.
Accommodations for our rush hour dirt crew have been provided by Holiday Inn of Johnstown, New York, providing comfortable rooms, superb service, and a relaxing atmosphere. Add in beautiful pool and banquet facilities for 300 people and 2 more outstanding reasons to stop by the Holiday Inn of Johnstown, New York. Back to racing now at Fonda. Just 11 laps to go. Oh my! Johnson has the lead. That's Danny Johnson, followed by Brett Hearn.
Doug Hoffman rides in the number 3 spot. There we see the battle back for the number 4 spot. Tremont in the red 21 car, putting a lap on Pat Ward, but he is being pressured as they rumble off into turn number 1.
Battle for the lead back up front. And we have a car into the wall in the front straightaway.
Todd Burley is against the wall here on the front straightaway. The Spencerport, New York driver has his brand new Troyer car against the wall. Very, very dejected. He's a first-year modified driver advancing from the sportsman ranks where he won a bunch of races. He won a race earlier this summer at his home track, the Ransomville Speedway. He's all right, but the front end of that number 89B is all bent up, and Todd Burley's race night is over early here, about 10 laps early, Doug.
That is exactly it. 10 laps remaining in this shootout. A rumble 2. And we go back to the front of the pack. And just behind the Camaro pace car, the number 6 of Danny Johnson. Then the number 20 of Brett Hearn. We have 9 laps remaining. We'll be racing when we come back. Rush Hour continues with a Coca-Cola Rumble 2 from Fonda Speedway, live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are back under green at Fonda, and Brett Hearn has just regained the lead with 5 laps remaining. Danny Johnson is second, and the battle rages down the backstretch.
Oh boy, we got a barn burner in the making here, Doug, as Danny will run the outside. Hearn will do a little slide job, goes to the top of the racetrack. Oh, not that much. He'll hug the bottom as they work on a turn 4. Danny Johnson right there. That's the spotter's word. You better believe it. Danny is there. $10,000. Danny could smell it. And now he's got to watch the Hearn run out front.
Brett Hearn in the number 20. Danny Johnson in the number 6. 1 and 2 on the racetrack as we have the scanner of Brett Hearn. Down the front straightaway comes Brett. And we have 3 laps remaining. Danny Johnson tries the outside groove, loses some ground.
Yeah, he went up over the berm. That'll cost him some time, but he'll keep it all wound up. He's going to run up on the top of the racetrack, backs it into turn number 3. He's cranked it sideways in turn 4. And we talked about $9 grand in. Well, if there's $9 grand left, he's got it going right now.
No time to lift now.
At all. There are 2 laps to go. 2 to go. Danny on the outside. Bonsai move down the back straightaway. Hearn will close that lane. Danny goes up over the berm and down the back straightaway. He's still on top over the berm. Oh, look at that, Doug. Beautiful, beautiful.
White flags out. White
Brett Hearn and Danny Johnson, 2 full-time professionals, laying it on the line for that $10,000 winner's purse. Hearn has the lead down the backstretch. About 4 car lengths. Hearn dives into turn 3. Danny Johnson tries one more move down low. Hearn swings out of turn 4. Comes down the front straightaway. The checkered flag is out.
Right there. Nice job.
Rumble Second is Danny Johnson. Third, Doug Hoffman. Fourth, the number 21 of Kenny Tremont.
Finishing 5, and he got him right at the checkered flag, was Doug Hoffman. He'll beat Steve Payne, who finishes in the number 6 spot. What a great battle up front all night long, and it's the 100th career 358 win for the Auto Palace 20 in Brett Hearn.
And the celebration is on for Brett Hearn's crew. Let's go down to Paul Small.
We're with the winning crew chief, John Apples. John, did Brett have that move set up, or was that just taking opportunity?
Well, he said we knew we were faster than he was. We just needed the time to get him. We got a little screwed up with the lap cars there, but he come through it. He's the best.
Brett Hearn proving why he is indeed the corporate jet in dirt modified racing. Doug?
All right, congratulations then to Brett Hearn. We anxiously await our chat with Brett the Jet down in victory lane. Win number 100 in his career, driving that 358 small block.
This will be his 10th career win in the Skoal 358 series. He'd won 9 coming into this season, winless so far this year. And as you mentioned, he didn't even make the main on Tuesday evening up at the Can-Am Speedway. So a turnaround of events for sure for Brett Hearn.
And there's a look at Danny Johnson, who has to be a little bit disappointed, but my, didn't he and Brett give us one heck of a rumble here.
If airtime was what Danny was looking for, he got his fair share of it tonight. A great run, but again, he'll be a little disappointed. He wants to win them, but second place is better than third. That's what he'll hear tell you as well.
He led the majority of the laps, and well, quite a performance for Danny Johnson, who started outside of row 4. Back to Brett Hearn and the winning number 20 in victory lane here at Fonda. Brett Hearn takes home the checkered flag. Danny Johnson second. Unofficially, Doug Hoffman third. We saw Kenny Tremont fourth, Jimmy Horton fifth, and the 7X of Steve Payne rounding out the top 6. Well, we're down in victory lane. The helmet comes off, and you can see how exhausted, but how happy that championship driver Brett Hearn is. Let's go down to victory lane, and Paul Small, who is standing by.
Brett, a $10,000 payday. Congratulations on the victory in the Coca-Cola Rumble.
Well, man, I'll tell you, it doesn't get any better than that. That was a heck of a race. We knew we had a good car. We were a little underpowered, and we just had a great handling car. I got to thank the guys at TO Pro Speed, my brother, and the guys over there, and you know, the Auto Palace sponsorship. It gets us here, and Matt's and Overhead Doors and Pennzoil and all those people. And I just got to take 1 second to say hello to my Budweiser crew sitting home in the air conditioning and having a good time.
Tell me about that move to pass Danny Johnson. It looked like you had tried to set that up on the past couple of restarts on the bottom.
Well, like I said, we were a little underpowered, and he was leaving us bad on the restarts, and we just had to keep working the grooves. And I knew sooner or later, for some reason, he switched his grooves, and that's what really killed him. I got underneath him, and I just got out front there, and I said, man, I just can't make any mistakes now. We need to get this car back to the finish. There's only 4 laps to go, and wow, took all the concentration I had.
And this was an outstanding race to work with tonight, wasn't it?
It was. It was multiple groove. As you can see, we ran all the way from the top out by the wall, right to the bottom curb, and most of it was good. And you know, it had to be a great race to watch, I'd have to say. It was just fun to drive it.
He won the season-ending 200 lapper here at Fonda last year. This year, he wins the 358 Modified Rumble. Brett Hearn is your winner, Doug.
You mean those modifieds aren't air-conditioned? Boy, what a drive for Brett Hearn, and what an incredibly exciting pass, as Brett Hearn is the winner of our Rumble 2. Rush Hour will continue with more coverage of the Coca-Cola Rumble 2 from Fonda Speedway. We are live on Sports Channel. Rumble 2 goes to Brett Hearn. Finishing second, Danny Johnson. He's down with Paul Small.
Danny Johnson, second place finisher here tonight in the Rumble. That was one hell of a battle with Brett Hearn.
Yeah, we had a good race going. We raced a clean race, whole race. You know, he had to bump me to get by me at the end, but other than that, we had a real strong race. You know, congratulate the Freightliner team on such a great run.
Looked like your car was hooked up right up there on the cushion around the outside.
Yeah, it was hooked up well. We had trouble with the right rear there towards the end, but other than that, we had a real strong race.
Danny Johnson with a hard-earned second-place finish in tonight's Coca-Cola Rumble. Doug?
Well, Danny and Brett gave us just what we all love about dirt modified racing. What a great race that was.
side by side for a lot of laps, a lot of lead changes. It doesn't get any better than this. And as we've now documented now, the great battle in Hearn set him up.
Once again, the unofficial results: Brett Hearn, Danny Johnson, and Doug Hoffman, the top three, followed by Kenny Tremont, Jimmy Horton, and Steve Payne, the top 6 finishers. Continuing on, it's Alan Johnson and Jeff Hetzler, Billy Decker, A.J. Romano, Danny O'Brien, and Jerry Higbee, the top 12.
There we see obviously a mistake. Danny Johnson not finishing the 13th spot, but C.D. Covell 14th, Pat Ward finishing 15th, Timmy Dwyer, Mike Caravino, Chuck LaPresti finishing in the number 18 spot.
Yeah, I'm sure that was Alan Johnson finishing in the 13th position. Let's go back down now to Paul Small.
Doug Hoffman takes home a 3rd place finish tonight in the Rumble. You couldn't quite get up there to catch him, but this car was still quick.
3rd place finish ain't bad, you know, but them guys, they had one heck of a race going on up front, and I just didn't really have quite enough to run with them guys. But I've only run this car once this year in the opener at Penn National, and it's been sitting, and we decided at the last minute to come out and do this race because it's a real good paying race. And thanks to my brother Mike and Al and Rick, the guys that helped me put this deal together just for tonight. And it was a good run, you know, good paying 3rd spot.
Did the track change any at all during the course of the race?
Well, like in the heat races tonight, the track was real good and real fast, and then it got a real slippery spot right in the middle. But there was a good top and a decent bottom, so I mean, you've seen side-by-side racing all night, and we were just a little bit off the pace. You know, I was kind of hoping maybe them 2 guys would get together one more time and take each other out and give me the win, but they had one heck of a race going on. It was pretty neat to watch.
You must have had your hopes up when they got into traffic, thinking, boy, I can get near to him.
Well, you know, every time I got the opportunity to close in on them, I really never got close enough to do any battling with them. They were just, both of them guys were just a little bit better than me tonight, but you know, we're happy with a 3rd place finish. Paid some money, paid some bills.
A last-minute decision puts Doug Hoffman in 3rd place in tonight's Rumble, Doug.
All right, thank you, Paul. Congratulations, too, to Doug Hoffman for his fine run. Brett Hearn, as the winner tonight, takes home an automatic qualifying spot in this October's Champion Sparkplug 358 Modified Championship, all part of Super Dirt Week 25, coming up October 8th through the 13th at the New York State Fairgrounds. Tickets available. Here's the schedule. Wednesday, October 9th, 2:30, the time trials for the Modifieds, Triple 20 qualifiers. Friday, October 11th, Turning Stone Casino late model 100 and the Champion Sparkplug 358 Modified 125, followed of course by the granddaddy, the world's richest dirt auto race, Phase Drugs 300, Sunday, October 13th. And get your tickets now because it is guaranteed to be absolutely sold out. We had a huge throng on hand here at Fonda Speedway to enjoy Rumble 2, and they saw Brett Hearn outduel Danny Johnson for the win. Now, we would like to thank the following individuals and companies for their valuable assistance and support in producing Rush Hour on Dirt from Fonda Speedway. Thanks for all the statistical help in the booth to Tom Skavinsky and Kevin Kovac. Now, we'll see you next Thursday night when the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series for Big Block Modifieds roars into the Super Dirt Speedway, Lebanon Valley Speedway in West Lebanon, New York. For the Mr. Dirt Track USA, for Gary Montgomery, Paul Small, and the entire Rush Hour on Dirt crew, this is Doug Logan saying thank you for joining us, and so long for now. Executive producer of Rush Hour on Dirt is Glenn Donnelly. Rush Hour on Dirt is a production of Dirt Motorsports and a presentation of Sports Channel. Come and waste away again in Bob McCreadyville. It's the Auto Trader 75, and it's live on Sports Channel.
Dirt tracking. Born in the cornfields and lower 40s of rural America. Dirt tracking. the cornerstone of racing. The early barnstormers put it all on the line to satisfy their thirst for speed. Now, their great-grandchildren carry the torch with the same spirit and thirst. 700 horsepower rips the earth. For 1 hour, nothing else matters. It'll raise the hair on the back of your neck. Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are live at the Land of Legends, Canandaigua Speedway in Canandaigua, New York, for the Auto Traders 75. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan. Welcome to Rush Hour. Tonight, the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series for Big Block Modifieds ignites for the 15th time this season, with the points battle still very much up for grabs. But while points leaders Doug Hoffman and Brett Hearn continue their series-long struggle for the championship, there is a more immediate question pressing us this evening. Joining me is racing analyst for Dirt Motorsports, Gary Montgomery. And Gary, the question is, can anyone defeat Bob McCready?
Well, the answer is yes, but the record is certainly in his favor. In the past 13 years, he's made it his Saturday night playground. In the process, he's won 91 features, 9 this year, 6 track championships, and on his way for his 7th. He leads by 2 points coming in here tonight. Can he be beaten? Yes. He's won 9 times this year, but he's lost 8 times. Last year in this race, he came in 3rd. He's beaten by Danny Johnson and Joe Plaza. Can he be beaten? Yes, but I wouldn't bet against him.
Bob McCready is looking for his 70th victory here in the 90s. Is there something magical with this driver and track combination?
Well, it's a combination of engine and handling track. And Bob will tell you that you can win with a small block, but in reality, he uses a big block, and I don't think you can. It's a great clay surface, wide back straightaways, spacious corners, and when he backs it into 3 without lifting, it's a thing of beauty. Combination of handling, motor, and talent. He's got all 3.
While racing here at Canandaigua Speedway has been nothing but fun and games for Bob McCready, it's anything but for those race drivers, those competitors who are trying so desperately to track him down. Down to the pits we go with Cowboy Paul Small.
Two drivers who are definitely singing the barefoot blues when they come to Canandaigua are Joe Plaza and Brett Hearn. Joe, you came here a few years ago to run with these guys here in Central New York. Have you learned anything from running and winning against barefoot Bob McCready?
Well, I've learned a lot running against Bob. Haven't won a lot against Bob, that's for sure, but I've learned a lot. I mean, I've followed him many laps. I've looked at the back of that 9 car for a long time, and I'll tell you what, he's one of the best around, and it's tough to beat him here at Canandaigua, but we have beat him on various occasions and hope to do it tonight.
When you first came here, you were a guy who would win 1 or 2 races in a year, and now you're up to 12 to 13 races a year, and you may very well win the points championship here this year.
Well, we follow him. We follow Bob by 2 points going into tonight, and we got one more show Saturday night, and it could come down to the wire. Of course, it's going to come down to the wire, but I mean, not in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd beat Bob McCready at Canandaigua. I mean, usually he's got 100 points on us by middle of August, and I mean, beating Bob McCready here is like beating God.
Now, one guy who is, well, he's also considered a god in dirt modified racing is Brett Hearn. Brett, you and Bob are both professional drivers. How tough is it to run against this guy?
Well, I feel like I got a chance against him anywhere else but here. He knows the track like the back of his hand, and you know, he's absolutely the toughest anywhere you go, but when you come to Canandaigua, he's just a little bit tougher.
Do you come to this racetrack thinking, I'm running for 2nd place, this is Bob McCready's house?
I always, as I come to the track, I always try to think of a reason why I should get psyched up, and I was really lost for a reason before I got here, but we ran pretty good in the heat race, so I've got a little more confidence in what I came here with.
You know, Joe Plaza is starting on the pole position here tonight. He got a good draw, but I talked to an old Indian in the pit area earlier this evening, and he tells me that the Indian translation for Canandaigua is barefoot driver, go very fast. Doug?
Well, I think that Paul also was talking to a couple of sandbaggers. There's Joe Plaza and Brett Hearn. They have a lot of machine tonight. Let's bring you up to date on the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series points picture.
After 14 races, Doug Hoffman leads, but only a 45-point advantage over Brett Hearn. You see Jimmy Horton is 3rd, no change there. And as they flip to the 2nd graphic, you'll see that 3rd through 8th separated by 86 points. 958 for Horton in 3rd, 872 for Tremont in 8th. A very, very close chase in this again, it's $60,000 in point money. Every position pays a little more, so they're all clawing away.
All right, when we come back, the engines will roar to life at the Land of Legends. It's the Auto Trader 75, and this is Rush Hour live on Sports Channel. Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you in part by CarQuest on the pole, the
Canadian number 1 of Joe Plazik, and outside the number 3 of Brett the Jack.
Second row on the inside will be the Parts Plus number 19, Timmy Fuller at the keyboard, alongside the Freightliner of Newburgh, car number 6 day, the Dr. Danny Johnson.
On to row 3, Dave Camara and Brian Turner.
Row 4 on the inside will be car number 45, Chuck Hebing. He's out of Williamson, the Crown Electric Troyer car, and Alan Johnson is alongside. You just met him with Paul Small.
Jeff Hetzler has had a great month of August thus far after a tough month of July. The Hurricane Steve Payne outside row 5.
Row 6 on the inside is the Fonda Speedway track champion, Jack Johnson, in the Bull Bar. Olson car number 12B. Alongside is Canandaigua regular Gary Tompkins and Daryl Simmons' car number 32.
Starting 13th, the barefooted wonder, Bob McCready in the number 9. And outside, John Moravec.
Row 8 on the inside will be Jeff Tromley. He's out of Schenectady, New York, the Altier Audio car 21J, alongside a second-generation driver, A.J. Romano, in the Skip Seymour car 4.
On to row 9, Pat Ward and Billy Decker.
Row 10 on the inside, starting position number 19 will be Gilly Tegg. He's out of Rochester. Alongside is the motorized madman, Darrell Ruggles, in car 48.
On to row 11, Kenny Tremont, Mr. Dirt Track USA, and Ray Bliss Jr.
Row 12 is a pair of Canandaigua regulars. The Sergeant Steve Schultz is in the Bob's alignment. Edgerton Party House 16. Alongside is a Sweeteners Plus car of modified rookie driver Vic Coffey. He's out of Leicester, New York.
All right, on to row 13. John Ventura in the number 711 and the 18 of Bobby Varon.
Actually, Barron was scratched. He'll go to the back. And then Scotty Boudinot was next in line, inside of row number 14. Jimmy Horton was to have started 28th. He's packed up and gone home. He's disgusted about something.
And row 15, Doug Hoffman and Frank Cozy. They were disqualified from the heat race when it was found that the rear ends of their cars were too wide. They made corrections in the pits. They're placed at the back of the pack by virtue of their guaranteed spots. Now we have a late arrival on the track. We understand that Jimmy Horton's car is packed up and on its way home. However, there was word that he came onto the track in the backup car of Bob McCready. We'll track that down for you as we get set to go racing here at Canandaigua.
And in the back of the pack, someplace back there, is Frank Cozy out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. Tonight he's aboard the Rick and Corky Thumb CarQuest Auto Parts number 12. He'll be carrying the CarQuest Auto Parts camera from that way back, starting in position number 30. Some great shots expected from that car.
They're trying to get him belted up.
There's the 711 and the 12, and now back up to our high-powered, you could call it a fabulous front row of Joe Plazik and Brett Hearn. Ironically, the two fellows that we talked to in the pits just a few moments ago, saying that they are prepared to waste away again in Bob McCreadyville, are starting right up front.
Yeah, but if Hearn had known he was going to start outside of the front row, it would have been easier to get psyched up as he came here. There is the McCready car being pushed away. Now, it wasn't on the track, but there's the backup car, and there's a real story that has developed with the Jimmy Horton team during the week. His crew chief, longtime crew chief Charlie DeAngelis, has left that team. He's now working for Danny Johnson as the team manager of the Freightliner of Newburgh car. So that's a big change, and that may have had something to do with Jimmy's decision not to go. I don't know what it was, but nevertheless, here comes the old. Now, the way we'll tell these cars apart, the one that's primarily blue with a little bit of orange will be Jimmy Horton. The one that's orange with a little bit of blue will be Bob McCready. So we're in for a treat here tonight.
Our heat winners this evening, Jeff Hetzler, Joe Plazik, Jack Johnson, and Frank Cozy. Consolation winner was Gil Tay. And look to our left as these cars come around turn 4. Here comes the backup number 9. Jimmy Horton behind the wheel of Bob McCready's backup car.
Yeah, and this backup car is the one that's won most of the races. In fact, he's won 9 times. 8 of those wins have come in this car. So it's no slouch whatsoever. And Jimmy Horton, of course, we know what a great driver he is. This will be fun, Doug. Coming from the back, we got some hot dogs up front. We got hot dogs in the back. We got a great racing surface, and we got a great, big, beautiful full moon. That sometimes isn't good news.
We understand that Jimmy Horton, who is 3rd in the Skoll point standings, is going to take 1 lap in this car, then park it so he can get the points. We'll keep an eye on Jimmy Horton and the backup number 9. Meanwhile, Joe Plazik and Brett Hearn out of turn 4. Starter Tommy Burton has the green flag out, and we're underway at Canandaigua Speedway. And diving low into turn 1 is Joe Plazik. Brett Hearn is in 2nd.
shuffle through 1 and 2. Canada Joe and his Maple Leaf Special, the Plastic Auto Recyclers, Stakeout Restaurant, Troyer car leads. Here comes Hearn on the bottom of the racetrack. The Budweiser, Olsen, the Theo car charges to the inside. He'll lead lap number 1. You can see the shuffling down at turn 4, and now they're off into turn 1. Hearn is our race leader. Here's Danny Johnson making a move on the inside of Joe Plastic. Danny dives to the bottom as they go down the back straightaway, but the caution flag flies as the 7-11 of Johnny Ventura and Frank Cozy in the 12T. A couple of cars in the back of the pack have spun here in turn number 4, and they're losing a lap to, well, at least the Cozy is losing a lap to the leaders as Ventura was able to get away. But what a battle already, Doug. Swapping the lead a couple of times, but officially leading lap number 1 and number 2 now is the Budweiser TO Pro car. I had that wrong before, but this is the TO Pro car built by Brett's brother Bobby Hearn down their shop in New Jersey, and it's a Tony Fowle motor under the hood.
Here's a look at the CarQuest Auto Parts in-car camera of Frank Cozy, and we look toward the pits, and we see one car being pushed off. That's Vic Coffey in the 32C.
Well, that's actually the other 32, Doug. No way for you to tell from here, but that is Gary Tompkins in the Daryl Simmons car. They had an engine problem earlier during the heats. They did qualify, obviously, and apparently that engine problem has come back to haunt them here and pushing that car. And now, as we look on the back straightaway, there is the backup McCready car. Jimmy Horton doing just as was advertised, making a lap for a couple of points. I'm not sure of that strategy. He could have won the race with it. So anyway, that's the deal.
Not if Bob doesn't want him to drive it.
Well, that's true. But Bob's the car owner, and he likes the money that comes with that. And he'd like to have him first and second, I'm sure.
Meanwhile, we will have side-by-side restarts until we reach the midway point of this 75-lap race. The Auto Trader 75 from Canandaigua, and it's Brett Hearn firing into turn 3. Around turn 4 down the front straightaway. Brett Hearn has the lead. Joe Plosick is second. Danny Johnson currently runs third.
$9 grand Dan, the winner here last year. He led every lap, started on the pole, led the entire last year. It was 95 laps. He led them all. There we see Timmy Fuller taking over the number 4 spot as he trucks down to the bottom of the racetrack. Beautiful clay building up that berm up on top. We're going to have inside and outside lane. There's McCready way up on top, picking up several spots as he negotiated through 3 and 4.
He's into position number 9. Remember, he started 13th, and he is knocking on the door to get number 8.
David Camara may be the next one to fall, as McCready's charge is going to be a good one. Here we talked about him backing it into turn number 3. That's a little bit of an example of what you get. He doesn't back off at all. Lets the track scrub off the speed. He's trying to run down Brian Turner. We got a caution on the speedway again. Yellow flag flies.
And we'll try to pick it up for you. I can't locate the reason as of this moment, but there's Brett Hearn, Plosick, and it looks like debris.
Well,
debris on the course.
There's the answer, and from the color of that, it could have been something off of Jack Johnson's car. But as he drives by, I don't see anything missing there. So regardless, it's just a piece of sheet metal. It's off, and Johnny Ventura has pulled out a line with a 711. That car was smoking a couple laps ago. He's come to the top of the racetrack. Family operation out of Geneva, New York. His dad is his crew chief. Mom and dad own the car. They've got an engine problem, and he pulls to the top side, and he'll head for the pits here and hope to not lose too many laps. Again, caution laps still count, and he cannot pass the pace car. The pace car will clear, and Ventura will go to the pits.
And the green flag comes back out, and Brett Hearn fires into turn 4. He's got the lead, and working for the number 3 spot, Danny Johnson, and right behind him is the number 19.
Well, they've just switched that, Doug, and it's his brother now, his older brother, is Alan Johnson has taken over the number 4 spot. He's moved by Fuller, so it'll be Alan running 4th with Danny in 3rd as they complete lap number 9. They're all trying to run down the Budweiser 3 of Brett the Jet, Brett Hearn. There's a side-by-side battle as McCready advances a couple of more spots. He's moved by both Turner and Camara. You see Jack Johnson tricycling his car, and again, the yellow flag flies. Caution on the speedway. Oh, I
Once
see.
again, debris.
Yeah, it's bouncing over here. Some more sheet metal. Paul Small
turn 3.
Paul Small talked about this track could be a nightmare or something to that effect, and maybe that's what's happening. We've got a great big, very, very heavy cushion that's built up on the top of the racetrack, and as the cars get up and over that, they can tear off some of the low-riding sheet metal, and I think that's what we've seen happen here, or maybe there was a little bit of contact, but no serious problem for anybody. The safety truck has removed the debris, and we're about to complete lap 11.
Rush Hour will continue with more coverage of our Auto Trader 75 from Canandaigua Speedway. We are live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
We are live at the Land of Legends, Canandaigua Speedway. Rush Hour on Dirt is brought to you by Auto Traders. Looking for the best place to buy or sell a car? Look to Auto Trailer. Every Auto Trader magazine is localized for your area and is full of pictures so you can see what you're shopping for. Pick up a copy of Auto Trader at your local convenience store. Doug Logan along with Gary Montgomery, and the green flag flies once again. Lap 13 at Canandaigua, and we've got a battle for the lead.
Side-by-side duel. Hearn on the inside. He's just gone to the outside. Joe Plazik challenging him, but Joe's got to hold on and protect his turf because the doctor is there. Danny Johnson looks to the inside as they race down the back straightaway. Will he charge to the inside in turn 3? No. But there's the leader, Hearn out front. He owns about a 3-car length advantage. Plazik goes high. Danny's down on the bottom, digging, clawing. And again, Danny, the defending champion of this race. Plazik looking for points at this racetrack. He's a two-point deficit to McCready entering the race. Side by side at over 100 miles an hour. The wheel down the back straightaway. Danny backs it into turn number 3. He's taken over 2.
Brett Hearn has the lead as that battle continues for 3rd and 4th position. Alan Johnson goes way high, loses the groove. There's Doug Hoffman, who's doing some charging through the pack.
He has picked up about 10 spots already in the Phil's Chevrolet Taylor Motorsports car. He is really on fire. He's trying to run down Jeff Trombley now. And there you see the heavy traffic and the wide racing surface. Trombley on the outside, Hoffman on the inside. They go charging off into turn 1. Camara and the 6 of Moravec just ahead. Camara holds them at bay as they race down the back straightaway.
Now Hoffman in the number 1 is currently running 14th. He's up to 14th spot.
From the back of the pack after they found the rear end was about a ½ an inch too wide. Didn't make any difference, but it did meet the rules.
Now he's up to 13th with that pass, and he's trying that outside groove.
Oh, there's heavy traffic in front of him now. There he goes to the inside of the water wagon. Johnny Moravec, the gas man, stays up on top. Camara's down on the bottom. The Pulteney, Vermont driver hugging the bottom of the racetrack, trying to pick up the spot, and he doesn't know it, but there's somebody, he has an idea. There's somebody back there. He has no idea that it's Doug Hoffman. Hoffman in the Taylor Motorsports car flies by. There's Billy Taylor giving him instructions as they race down the back straightaway.
Now remember, Doug Hoffman in the number 1 is the current points leader in the Skoal Series.
But only by 45 over the race leader Hearn. So he's got to make every position count. Got to finish this race. There's a great shot from Cozy's car. Wayne Contractors have come on board as an associate sponsor of the Thumb car, and we have caution on the speedway. Frank Cozy again riding, trying to pick up some ground from the back of the pack. The trouble apparently is the Darrell Ruggles, the old Milwaukee car. Another of the Canandaigua regulars may have had a problem here. He's pulled out a line, and that's the reason for the yellow, but he's going to stay on the racetrack. So young driver, 2nd year in the modified division. He won a whole bunch of races here in a street stock and then came to the sportsman division where he won some more races. And he's struggling just a bit in this modified division, but it's very, very tough and very expensive.
22 laps in to our 75-lap Skoal Racing Super Dirt Series event. It's our 4th caution. This is an 18-race event, and the points battle still very, very much up for grabs. But there's a man who's a key player, the number 3, that Budweiser car, Brett Hearn.
A key player, and he has won only 1 race at this racetrack, a 200-lapper here a number of years ago. That's all he's got in his career. Alongside is Danny Johnson, who has won a bunch of times. This used to be his regular Saturday night racetrack. As the pace car clears and the green flag flies, and Hearn goes back to work at a big hurry, opens up about a 3-car length advantage over Danny. And there's Alan Johnson running the outside, trying to move by Plazik to take over the number 3 spot.
Racing at Canandaigua Speedway. Out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. There's that battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the Hurricane pick up some ground on Joe Plazik.
This is what we call the pain lane here in Canandaigua, way up on top where nobody dares to go, but that's the lane that has made Payne famous at this racetrack. And you see him tricycling a little bit there. He goes up over the berm on the back straightaway. He is flying, but he's not flying fast enough, Doug, because the barefoot wonder, the master of going faster, Bob McCready, has come from deep in the pack to what? Take over position number 5 now as we complete lap number 25.
Yes, Bob McCready up to 5th, running that outside groove down the back straightaway. There's Bob McCready in the number 9 machine.
He's now actually in 4, challenging Alan Johnson for 3. Now you know why we call him the master of going faster. He has this place figured out like his living room. Unbelievable. He's up on where is he? He's up on top, and he's trying to run down the Johnson brothers. And this is going to be very, very interesting because they're going to fill up the top and the bottom, and he's going to have to go. I don't know where he's going to go. That time he went way up over the berm. Down the line to go, completing lap 27.
McCready on the back bumper of Alan Johnson. 2 winningest drivers here at Canandaigua in that order, and Alan goes high. McCready has got him. As we go back in car with the CarQuest Auto Parts Stores in-car camera and Frank Cozy, but there is that battle that Bob McCready has just won over Alan Johnson, at least for the moment, for 3rd spot.
You see them charging around the Jeff Hensler car. Jeff has a flat tire. He's going to try to stay out and bring out a caution, wait for a caution, whatever, and now the caution does fly. So that's a tough break for Jeff Hensler, another one of our top 12 in point standings. The Smitty's Reclamation 33 tears off a tire. And what's happened here, Doug, and we talked about this on earlier shows, with this very, very heavy berm, they'll go up against it, it'll tear a tire right off the rim, and I suspect that's what happened to Jeff Hensler.
Now, the last 3 laps, we've seen both McCready and Alan Johnson go over the berm, but they were able to hang on.
Yeah, hang on for dear life. And when you do that, there's so many variables there. It's very, very heavy. They're trying not to tear a tire off, trying not to lose control. A few weeks ago, and we featured this on one of our programs earlier, Bob McCready got up over the berm, got on the gas. When he did it, lifted the front end of the car up, and he turned it right straight into the wall.
We are in the pits with Jeff Hensler, and let's go down to Paul Small.
A very hectic pit stop for Jeff Hensler in the Reclamation 33 car. He made contact with another car on the outside of the 3rd turn, and it destroyed this Hoosier Racing tire. I tell you, it's just ripped inside and outside sidewall. You see the jack coming down. Hensler is down and away, getting back into the Auto Trader 75. A little more battle damage than when he originally began. Doug?
And we can see him now peeling out of the pits, and he is going to get out in front of the pace car, and he will remain on the lead lap. Jeff Hensler in the number 33.
Very, very lucky, and just made him nick of time.
He will rejoin the fray.
Actually, Doug, those leaders did pass him. We saw that just before the caution came out. So he lost a lap on the track. He didn't lose any in the pits, but he slowed down and waited for the caution, and in the process, the leaders did lap him. So he's a lap down in the back of the pack, and that's not where he wants to be right now. The race leader is Brett Hearn. Danny Johnson runs in the number 2 spot. Back in 3 is McCready. Running 4 is Alan Johnson. And 5 is Steve Payne. Our pole position starter, early race leader Joe Plazik, has fallen back to run in 6th. Running 7 is that'll be Hoffman running 7. And then it's Fuller running in the number 8 spot. It's the green flag flies.
And we are back under green, and we're in car with Frank Cozy, and we have a chance to see him as he bounces around just a bit, strong-arming that car around the track.
He's running up on the back of the Altier Audio car of whatever that Altier Audio car is. Jeff Trombley, get it out here after a while. Jeff Trombley just ahead of the Cozy car. Here's Alan Johnson racing against Danny Johnson side by side of the brothers. Their mom and dad are here cheering them on tonight. Alan on the bottom, Danny on top. Alan's car is a Big Nell with a Pat Morrison built big block Chevrolet under the hood. The 6 Freightliner car comes from the Troyer Race Cars and Parts Shop in Rochester, New York, and their motor from Precision down in Middletown. But right now, it's the 14J of Alan Johnson prevailing.
And note, that's a battle for 2nd position because Alan Johnson got Bob McCready on the restart. There's Brett Hearn still leading, and we have some bumping in turn 4 between Danny Johnson and Bob McCready.
McCready went up on top, and I don't think Danny realized anybody was there. They made contact, and they get away with it, and they're rambling down the back straightaway.
So as we watch Danny Johnson and Bob McCready, Brett Hearn safely in first, safely in second is Alan Johnson. The big battle on the racetrack now for that third position between the Doctor and Bob McCready.
Danny run the bottom, and McCready is up on top. Now he changes lanes, comes to the bottom, and you saw them passing by some lap car in the back straightaway. Oh my goodness, they got away with it. Dangerous spot. There's the Hurricane continuing to run up on top, and now here comes the pressure from Doug Hoffman. Hoffman from the back of the pack doing a tremendous job here tonight in the Taylor Motorsports. Phil's Chevrolet Troyer car. That's a Ron Hunter motor in that one. That's the same situation, same combination as McCready has, a Troyer chassis and a Hunter motor.
And he's currently running in the 7th position, the number 1 of Doug Hoffman, trying to track down the 7X of Steve Hain.
Well, he certainly has won at this point the Burt Charger of the Race Award. Burt Transmissions give us the Charger of the race, and we have caution on the speedway as Jeff Trombley, the name I couldn't get out earlier. Jeff Trombley has slowed on the back straightaway. It looks like suspension damage to the Altier audio car for Jeff Trombley as he now fires it up and moves slowly back to the pit area. But something isn't tracking right there, and I suspect that it's more than just a flat tire.
So the caution flag flies here at Canandaigua. Rush Hour will continue with more coverage of the Auto Trader 75 from Canandaigua Speedway. We are live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
75 from the land of legends. And talk about a legend, how about the number 9 of Bob McCready? His success here in the 90s absolutely unparalleled. Earlier, Paul Small visited with the master of going faster.
Well, familiarity. You know, we've been here since we came on the dirt circuit. It was, well, you know, the track we liked, and we decided to run here weekly. So, I mean, we've been here a long time now and pretty familiar with the place and what changes happen during the night, long races and whatever.
Is there a feeling when the Skoal Series comes here to Canandaigua, okay, I've gone around with these boys at their racetracks, now they've got to come and play in my sandbox?
Not really. You've got about 10 professional racers that can win any place they go. And when they come in here, it's a different format. Really, when the outside guys come into a local bull ring, it's kind of the favor of the outside guys. It's a longer race. The guys that run locally don't know what's going to happen after 35 laps, where, you know, the invaders do. So that local racer edge thing, you don't really have it like people might imagine.
And Bob McCready is up to 2nd place with that pass of Alan Johnson. Now he's going after the number 3 of the Budweiser, Brett Hearn, way high in 3 and 4. Hearn will fend him off this time.
A little too high, scrubbed off some speed as he got up over that very, very heavy clay. Here's Alan Johnson working the extreme bottom. 3 wide in turn number 2. Look at that. Oh, they go 2 wide down the back straightaway. Alan will take the bottom lane. Hearn is trapped up on top now. McCready goes up over the berm. And over. Too far over. Bob McCready does a tumble off of turn number 4. Unbelievable.
What a battle for the lead. We look inside. Bob McCready, remember, is suffering from that bad back. The rescue crew immediately on hand to attend to Bob, whose car rests now just outside turn 4.
Doug, you talked about his back, and that's right. And that was the kind of a crash where sometimes they'll flip it in the air, and that doesn't hurt a lot of things until you land. Well, he landed 2 or 3 times, and each time very, very heavy contact, and that's the kind of shock that he does not need. Incidentally, that's the 2nd time he's been on his head here this year. Very early in the season, he had a wall banger in turn 2 and flipped the car. Tonight, just got too far up over that very, very rough cushion that we talked about, caught that rut, and sent the car a cartwheel. Vicious crash, and the master of going faster out of it. Right now, we're not so concerned about the car as we are the driver.
Well, we see him moving and unbuckling the helmet. There is a look inside the number 9 of Bob McCready. Just involved in a sensational scrap in turns 3 and 4. A battle for the lead, and then flipping over.
We know that he's okay, Doug, though. Very, very composed, because one of the very first things he did was put on his hat, because that's so important to him. The glasses on and the hat, and he's still seated. There he comes out of the car. So that's good news, and he's able to walk away. He's really taken a lot of tough tumbles this year. The crowd is cheering him wildly as he walks back to the attention of his crew.
Here's the replay. Alan Johnson, Brett Hearn, and Bob McCready down the backstretch into turn 3. Over 1,000 feature wins represented by these 3 drivers. McCready goes high, and look at this. Oh my!
Talked about those heavy when he bounced in the ground. Very, very a lot of contact.
One more look.
Billy Colton and Maynard Troyer take a bow. That car bounced so heavily, and the roll cage and all the important parts just did their job, and we're happy that Bob has walked away.
Isn't that the truth? Bob totally protected in that roll cage.
Belts, seats, all the things that hold these guys in. This is the brand new car. Well, not brand new any longer, but it's less than a month old, and it's been in the wall here at Canandaigua on its maiden voyage, and now flipped here. Very, very tough early going.
Meanwhile, after 48 laps, Brett Hearn, Alan Johnson, Doug Hoffman is up to 3rd, Danny Johnson 4th, and Joe Plotzik. Rush Hour will continue. We are live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt. Brand new this season, Dirt Sportswear.
We are in car with Frank Cozy. The green flag flies, lap 52 of our 75-lap championship here at the Land of Legends. And there's a legend up front in a battle for position number 2. Hearn leads. Hoffman outside of the number 14 of Alan Johnson, going for 2nd place.
Great charge. Remember, Hoffman starting in the back of the pack after that rules infraction was identified after his heat race. So he has charged from the back, runs in position number 3, but the leaders are under a blanket. Alan Johnson, A.J. Slideways, down on the bottom, and he'll take the lead as they exit turn number 4. Johnson leads. Hearn is 2. Back in 3 is Hoffman as they cross the line to complete lap number 54.
Now Hoffman tries to get outside of Brett Hearn for the 2nd position, and he may have him. He does have him down the backstretch.
Ron Hutter, stand up and take a bow. Brand new Hutter power plant for the Taylor Motorsports team, and it is working beautifully for Doug Hoffman. Hutter out of Chardon, Ohio, builds some of the most powerful engines in all of motorsports, and right now, one of those engines is under the hood of car number 1.
Leading this race, the number 14 and the winningest driver in Dirt Motorsports history, and the winningest driver here, Alan Johnson. In the 2nd position, the number 1 of the current Skoal points leader, Doug Hoffman. And then the number 3, the Budweiser car, Brett Hearn, who's 2nd in the Skoal points.
So the cream has risen to the top, and Alan Johnson right now at the head of the class as they truck down the back straightaway. But the most impressive ride so far is that of Doug Hoffman from the back to the front here in 56 laps. They complete 57 as they cross the line.
Doug Hoffman won this race in 1987, trying to get another feather in his cap. But just as the question was earlier, can anyone beat Bob McCready? Now Bob McCready in the pits. We have the report that he is okay. But the question now is, can anybody catch A.J. Slideways in the 14?
Well, right now, it would appear to me that the only driver that's got a legitimate chance of it, of course, the track will change here in the remaining laps, but it's Hoffman. And now we see them making a move on the inside. Hoffman's going to have to go to the bottom because Allen is running the top. That's where he prefers to run. So there we go, down the line. Danny running back in the number 4 spot, not able to do anything with it. Plotzik is in 5.
The scanner that we are picking up is that of Doug Hoffman's.
And what Billy Taylor was telling him is they are about to encounter lap cars, but they were to encounter lap cars. But I think we're going to have a caution as Brian Turner is slowed on the racetrack. And if that brings out a caution, which it has, that'll clear up the racetrack for the leaders. Good break, I think, there for the leaders.
I've been talking.
We have 15 laps remaining in this Auto Trader 75 from Canandaigua. And the caution flag is out. It's our 8th yellow of the evening. And a number of them were for debris, but one was for a dramatic flip by Bob McCready as he battled for the lead. There's Brett Hearn in the number 3.
Brian Turner has taken the Jack Turner car number 11 to the pits, where his brother John and Frank Reese will go to work and try to replace the tire without the wheel and tire without losing a lap. But they're in danger of losing a lap as the pace car has signaled that it will clear this time. There you see the shot of Hoffman, who tucks in tight behind the race leader Alan Johnson, and they fire, and Alan leads as they charge off into turn number 4.
And we have Brett Hearn pulling up lame. Brett Hearn lame in turn 4.
Lame as in broken. I'm not sure what happened there, but all tires are inflated. Maybe the rear end, I don't know. That extreme bite, and the caution flag flies. And there's yeah, that's a torsion arm that's dropped down. It's digging up the track. Hearn was able to diagnose the problem from the cockpit.
Might have broken the left rear radius rod, probably spun the arm out.
That sounded like Brett.
He's figured this out, Doug. He's figured out what's broken. It's a torsion bar that's dropped down, that's digging in the track. Tough break.
So Brett Hearn, yes, a tough break indeed, will head to the pits.
Bring it in here.
Points.
Nice and close,
So
Brett.
important. We talked about it at the head of the show. 45 points separated Hoffman from Hearn. Hearn having a great run here, although he lost the spot on the racetrack, but now he'll lose a lot of valuable ground. This is not, they cannot make this repair without losing at least a lap. So the point deficit for Hearn will increase, and the advantage for Hoffman will increase, and he's had a stellar show here so far tonight.
Brett Hearn is in the pits, and so is Paul Small. Paul, take it away.
Not exactly sure what the problem is on the Budweiser number 3 of Brett Hearn. As you can see, they are looking underneath the back end. Brett has shut the car down. Looks like they're going to try to roll a jack underneath it. They've got an air wrench out as well. Looks like it's going to be some kind of a rear end problem. They're looking in underneath the left rear tire, and it's apparently a torsion bar problem. See if we can sneak in and get a quick word from Brett. Brett, the car was running real good. Did you feel something like going the back end?
Right before that restart, the back of the car broke loose, and I felt it rub against the fender. I knew we were in trouble. We apparently broke a radius rod bolt, looks like.
So Brett Hearn in the Budweiser 3 out of the running with less than 15 to go. We're going back to green.
All right, thank you so much, Paul. Yes, Alan Johnson takes the green flag from starter Tommy Burton. He leads this race. Doug Hoffman in a battle now for second place, but Doug Hoffman could be the big winner out of all this. If Doug stays up front, he could come away with nearly a 100-point lead in the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series. But meanwhile, it's a battle for this checkered flag here this evening, and it's currently being dominated by Alan Johnson up front.
Another Johnson. Jack Johnson has just moved into the top 5, so we've got Alan leading. His brother Danny is in 3rd, and Jack Johnson, no relation, rides in position number 5 as we complete lap number 67.
There is Jack Johnson and Tim Fuller.
And Decker is closing in behind him. We have a tire that's come off of the A.J. Romano car.
We're trying to locate the tire. Yellow flag is going to come out one more time. We are on lap 68 here at Canandaigua, and we are going to have a sprint to the finish as Romano is stopped now in turn 1.
Laps winding down, and A.J. Romano at Skip Seymour's Troyer number 4 has lost a wheel. We're tire and wheel. We talked about worried about the tire. We're not worried about the tire. We're worried about the fact there's a wheel with it. It's heavy. I don't know where it went, but apparently it didn't hit anybody or anything, as there's no commotion around here. So A.J. Romano, the second generation driver out of Johnstown, sits idle on the track with a tricycle, and it just won't work, Doug.
And we are getting down to precious few laps. We have 6 remaining. The caution laps do count until the final 3.
The lap counter will be frozen at 72, and they'll then click them off. But we're working lap number 70 under yellow. The race leader is Alan Johnson. Doug Hoffman rides in the number 2 spot. Danny Johnson is in 3. Back in 4 now, I believe it will be the 1.
Yes.
Maple Leaf number 1 of Joe Plowsick. 5 is Jack Johnson. 6 could be Billy Decker. They're contesting that on the racetrack right now. Decker and Fuller and Jack Johnson all running under a blanket for 5, 6, and 7. Back in 8 is Dave Camara. 9 now is Johnny
Moravec, and rounding out the top 10 is Frank Cozy. I'm sorry, Kenny Tremont is in there. He would be running in the number 8 spot, Moravec 9, and Cozy 10. I think that's the way it works.
This Skull Racing Super Dirt Series event winner takes home that automatic qualifying spot for the Phase 300, all part of Super Dirt Week 25. And remember, tickets are available, but they're going fast. Make sure you call Dirt headquarters Monday through Friday. Have your Visa and MasterCard ready. Here's the lineup for Super Dirt Week. Modified time trials Wednesday, October 9th. The Triple 20 qualifiers Friday, October 11th, beginning at noon. The Turning Stone Casino Late Model 100 and the Champion Spark Plug 358 Modified 125 Saturday. And then Sunday, the world's richest dirt modified event, the Phase Drugs 300. Tickets available. The 25th anniversary special. Check this out. Sections 2 and 3, rows A through E. Just $50 for the entire week. Call Dirt Motorsports and have your Visa and MasterCard ready. We're racing once again as Alan Johnson takes the green flag. 71 laps in the books, and we have a dogfight for the number 3 position. Danny Johnson and Joe Plosick, but there are your leaders, Alan Johnson, then Doug Hoffman.
Alan Johnson has the superior horsepower, or so it would appear on his restarts, as he instantly opens up a 5-car length advantage over Hoffman, who's pulled away from the battle for 3. The battle for 3, however, continues to be a good one. The Danny running in the number 3 spot. Joe Plosick is tight behind him in 4, and Billy Decker has gone to the outside of the racetrack. He's in 5 and challenging. Here comes Canada Joe on the outside now, but here we go back to the lead, and it is Alan Johnson leading Doug Hoffman. The battle is for position number 3. Danny Johnson has the spot, but Joe Plosick wants it. There's Joe working the inside as they work in turn number 1. In turn 2 now, Danny opens up a 2-car length advantage, and here we see them fanning out, and the car going out of shape and losing some ground there was Billy Decker. Here comes Jack Johnson on the inside now. Jack on the red car on the inside goes against Joe Plosick for the number 4 spot.
The white flag is out. Alan Johnson, 3-time winner of this race, 1976, 78, and 84. It's been more than a decade since his last win here in the Skull Racing Super Dirt Series. Out of turn 3 into turn 4, Hoffman gives it one more go, but Alan Johnson has won the Auto Trader 75 from Canandaigua Speedway.
The career total now is 106 for A.J. Slideways, now the hired gun for Bill Trout in the Honeoye Auto Parts car. Great, great run.
And a very big win for Alan Johnson. A big second place finish in the points race for Doug Hoffman.
Not only does he get second, but his primary adversary did not finish the race, Brett Hearn. So it's a big, big jump in the points for Doug Hoffman. Finishing third was Danny Johnson. Joe Plosick held on in a great battle to finish 4, and that's all unofficial, of course. And unofficially 5 would be Jack Johnson, and I had 6, Kenny Tremont. As the top 3 are in victory circle for the Victory Lane celebration.
All right, and Alan Johnson collects his first Skull Big Block modified win of the season, and with it, he gets that automatic qualifier for Syracuse.
So important, and he's won that race on a couple of occasions. One time come from the extreme back of the pack, and you talk about not passing on the Moody Mile at Syracuse. Well, A.J. Slideways did it a number of years ago when he got in by a vote of the press, went on to win the race.
Well, a little home sweet home then for Alan Johnson, who wins our Auto Trader 75 here at Canandaigua. And he had to hold off a last turn charge from the number 1 of Doug Hoffman. But out of the car, fist the crowd, Alan Johnson. Look at that big smile as he's down there with Jack Spino. And we're going to head down to Victory Lane and talk to our race winner, Alan Johnson. Here's Paul Small.
Alan, congratulations on a great Skull Racing Super Dirt Series win here. This looked like a war more than a race.
Well, you know, it was a great race for us. We lost one Thursday that I think we had pretty much in hand, and you know, it's just great to get one back.
This has always been your racetrack. You've got more wins here than anybody else, and you showed them why tonight.
Yeah, this is our track. You know, we've been here every Saturday night for 20 years, and you know, it's great to get this one here.
Did you see the McCready crash over in 3 and 4?
Well, I seen Bob up on a cushion. You know, I didn't see him go, but I seen he was out of shape up there in a cushion, and you know, then they told me on the radio that he ended up rolling, and you know, I was surprised. I figured he'd just bring it off the cushion, but you know, it's too bad because Bob was really running great.
How about Hoffman knocking at the door there towards the end?
Yeah, you know, he's always tough. That's a dynamite car he's been driving there, and you know, Hearn's got a great car, and you know, this thing is just dynamite, and you know, we beat a tough crowd tonight.
Congratulations, fantastic victory for you, Alan.
Oh, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Johnson wins at the track that he is known for, the Land of Legends. Doug?
All right, thank you very much, and congratulations to Alan Johnson. Rush Hour will continue with more coverage of the Auto Trader 75 from Canandaigua Speedway. We are live on Sports Channel.
Rush Hour on Dirt.
At our final standings here in the Auto Trader 75, Alan Johnson wins the race, followed by Doug Hoffman, who will now take nearly 100-point lead in the Skoal Racing Super Dirt Series with only 3 races remaining. Danny Johnson, Joe Plaza, Kenny Tremont, and Jack Johnson, the top 6.
Timmy Fuller rounding out, finishing 7. Billy Decker, David Camara, Johnny Moravik, Pat Ward, and one of our exciting local drivers, Chucky Hebing, rounding out the top 12.
All right, well, a big night for Doug Hoffman as well. He's down there with Paul Small. Paul?
Doug Hoffman, last to first, or almost first anyway. Unbelievable performance by you in this race car.
It was something, you know. First of all, I got to say hi to everybody back home, and thanks to Phil Chevrolet and Billy Taylor. They've just been doing an outstanding job with this race car. Hopefully a run like this brings us the needed sponsorship that we need to finish out the rest of the year, but I can't say enough about the race car. It's just been fantastic these last month and a half of the season, and we started dead last, got to second. I wish there was some more laps. You know, Alan did an outstanding job, and we came a long way, and I'm real happy with a second. I just wish that we would have had some more laps to do some more racing. I needed to find a better groove there at the end.
It was a fantastic race car, and hey, this driver isn't half bad either, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, big night for Alan Johnson and a big night for Doug Hoffman.
Big night for Joe Plazik. He'll take over the track point lead as well.
Well, thank you for all the statistical help in the booth to Tom Skabinski and Kevin Kovac. If you've enjoyed Rush Hour this season, write Dirt Motorsports and call your local cable company and sports channel. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you the second week in October when Dirt Motorsports stages its season-ending Spectacle of Speed, Super Dirt Week from the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. For Gary Montgomery, Paul Small, and the entire Rush Hour on Dirt crew, this is Doug Logan saying thank you for joining us. And so long for now.
The executive producer of Rush Hour on Dirt is Glenn Donnelly. Rush Hour on Dirt is a production of Dirt Motorsports and a presentation of Sports Channel.
The Western States Super Modified Tour on Prime Sports is sponsored by Schultz Distributing, Intra Corporation, Security Race Products, Stoneway Concrete, Express Construction, and East Lake Utilities. Welcome back, everybody, to Evergreen Speedway in Monroe as we continue with action from the 3rd Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial. Okay, Gary, let's take a look at the field for our first 8-lap heat.
Our first 8-lap heat, and right up front on the pole, sitting in spot number 1, will be Davey Hamilton. Davey will be in the number 1 car. Outside front row will be the 49 of Randy Anderson. We move to row number 2, the 37 of Harold Evans, and the 14 of Axel Walker. Row number 3, inside you start 5th on the field, will be the 09 of Todd Coleman, and outside, starting in the 6th position, the 51 of Joe Prieslak out of Denver, Colorado. And row number 4 will be the 2W of John Dudley and the 0 Bruce McLeese. And rounding out our first heat in row number 5, the 9C of Rod Rothgarn out of Fresno, California. That'll be 8 laps, first heat. We're about set to go with the Western Super Modified Racing Association heat number 1. You watch them kick it up. 2,000-pound cars, over 830 horsepower. Torque galore. They can take the green cone you see out of turn number 4. Watch it now, watch it now. Now they can move. We've got a green, we're clean. Davey Hamilton, nice run into turn number 1. Sets it low. right along the ridge. Now he kicks it up and goes out of turn number 2. To the outside comes a 49 as he'll move into spot number 2. Randy Anderson. Anderson will grab spot number 2 as they go into 3. Davey Hamilton all by himself clears turn number 4, completes lap number 1. 7 to go. It's Hamilton, Anderson, and then back to 37 of Harold Evans, the veteran out of Littleton, Colorado. He'll maintain third. Moving up as the 09 of Todd Coleman. That's your top 4. We're working on lap number 2. 8 make up the distance. Across the line, Davey Hamilton all by himself. Pulled out to about a 15-car length lead. Floats really nice, Todd. Goes very nice with it. As you can see him running into the sun. This is a tough time for him as they go into 3. Sun in the eyes a little bit darker when they go to television time for their 50-lapper. No change. Everybody in line getting the setup they want. The last battle on the course now on Hamilton, as all he needed, he has pulled it off. He's got the setup he wants, and our lead now changes to the 49 car of Randy Anderson. Anderson, a huge lead, still a battle for that second spot. As we'll watch him move up right now, Harold Evans, and he's got Todd. Across the line, we have completed 6 laps, 2 to go. Boy, he is a mile from home, nobody looking. Pounds it down, gets it set. Your leader, the 49 of Randy Anderson. In second, the 09 of Todd Coleman. In third will be the 37 of Harold Evans, the veteran. We see the white flag. 1 lap to go. He slows. Wrong flag, wrong time. Kick it up. 1 more notch. The last Joe Prieslak.
Driving skills from him. He drove for me in 9-2, and I think I'll follow him for a while, and then hopefully I can get him at the end.
That's Dan Lonsdale, our fast qualifier of the evening. Stay tuned. We'll have more WSMRA action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe after this timeout on Prime Sports. And we're back once again, a beautiful August night at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe as WSMRA action continues. And ready for heat number 2. Gary, let's set the field.
On that front row, the 7 car of Lauren Reed. Alongside of him, outside front row 24 of Jim Burns. Row number 2, the 22W of Dan Hayes, and the 10 of Troy Reguer. In row number 3, we have the 78 of Andy Bauer and the 11 of Rebel Jackson Jr. In row number 4, 44, Jerry Halsey and the 76 of Dennis Kitts. This is heat number 2, 8 laps. Lauren Reed in the 7 out of Kingsburg, California. Next time around, they have the furled green flag, the 1 finger up. Our starter is set to go. Beautiful field of modifieds right now, Todd.
Lauren Reed, 7th in the point standings and walking through the stands tonight. An awful lot of Lauren Reed t-shirts down there, too. All those 7s down in front of us. Oh, you can wave better than that. Come on. There we go. The Lauren Reed fan club.
That's half of Kingsburg, California.
I hear they shut it down for the weekend.
Lights are out of Kingsburg, but the green is out. We'll go green and clean into turn number 1. Lauren Reed in the 7. Holds a tight line outside, drifts up Jimmy Burns. Jimmy Burns now on the loud pedal. Pushes it up, clears the numbers, drops in a little problem with Lauren Reed in the 7. Burns maintains the outside. Now he'll fire across. Leads lap number 1, the 24 of Jimmy Burns. Then back to Lauren Reed and the 22 of Dan Hayes. Hayes runs third in the 78 of Randy Bauer. This is some tough cars in this heat. You see Rebel Jackson in the back trying to sort his way out as we complete lap number 2. Our leader now, Jim Burns. Burns has taken over the lead from Lauren Reed. Burns pulls quickly down the back chute. Out to about a 15-car length lead. Kick up a little dust on the ripple strips on the outside, and they'll set it. Tucking into spot number 3 will be the 22 of Danny Hayes. Danny Hannibal Hayes. His team car with Rebel Jackson, the 11W, is running last on the field at this juncture. Good run for Jimmy Burns out of Clovis, California, as he runs in. Spot number 1, the 7 of Lauren Reed runs second. And then we'll again move back to 22 of Danny Hayes and Troy Reguer. Reguer gets underneath. Now Randy Bauer is up to make a move. He'll drop back momentarily. That's in the back of the pack. Inside move. Bowers grabs spot number 2. Right behind him comes Danny Hayes. Lap number 6 by the boards. Black flag coming out for the 10 car. A problem with Troy Reguer. He exits off of the pit road out of turn number 1. White flag, 1 to go. Jim Burns all by himself. Randy Bauer runs the spot number 2. Tries to get that line set up, Todd, and he will do very well during this main event. Jumps it, punches it exactly when he wants to. The tough 3/8. A little bit off camber. They come out. Checkered flag. Jim Burns, your winner.
Jim Burns out of Clovis, California, who won the 360 classification a couple of years ago, and a very good heat for him. Scott Ellsworth is standing by with the season points leader, Rebel Jackson Jr. Scott?
Well, we're here with Rebel Jackson Jr. Rebel qualified second. That's not where you wanted to be here today, but not a bad effort, though.
No, the car was working real well, and we thought a zero was going to be fast enough, but Dan Lonsdale slipped in there and took it from us. So it really doesn't matter here. The qualifying, the car's real drivable. We got 50 laps out there tonight. So if the car's close to the main event, that's what's going to matter today.
Tire wear. Will it be a concern over 50 laps on this 3/8 mile oval?
Probably for some of the guys. My tires are looking beautiful all day practicing. So, yeah, I hope they have concerns about their tires.
Fuel jumped up and bit you a couple of years ago. Will that be a concern?
No, absolutely not. Not on this small 3/8 track, on the big 5/8. And the officials already told us that if we get any long yellows or anything, that they will stop it and let us get some fuel thing if we do run over on the laps.
Well, you can see he's already perspiring before he's even put his helmet on. It's a very hot day here.
Stay tuned. We'll have more WSMRA action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe after this timeout on Prime Sports. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Western States Super Modified Tour action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. I'm Todd Pickett along with Gary Cressy as our racing action continues. Just about ready to get our third 8-lap heat started. And Gary, we take a look at the field for heat number 3.
And I tell you, we have the Bajoni family, and what a great racing family they are. On the pole in the 14C car out of Soledad, California, will be Art Bajoni. Outside front row, the 5W of Brian McLeese. Row number 2, the 98, Bob Bajoni, the son of Art. And outside of row number 2 in the 11 will be Jeff Helton in the only Ford-powered modified in the field tonight. Row number 3 inside, he'll start 5th in the field, the 91 of Rick Veenstra from Idaho. And outside of the 3rd row, the 8W of Dan Lonsdale, our fast qualifier. Row number 4, the 26 of Mike Brewing, and the 32 of John Dahl. That's your third heat as we get set to go 8 laps. They line up full speed. On the power, Art Bajoni, the veteran, drops it into turn number 1, a little bit wide as he takes it out of 2, very smooth. In that spot number 2, the 5 of Brian McLeese, and now Jeff Helton has the Ford powered into spot number 3. He tucks right up behind the nose. We'll take it out. Completes lap number 1, the veteran Art Bajoni. Then back to Brian McLeese, Jeff Helton, and the 98 of Bob Bajoni. Good battle as the 4 cars now pull away from the rest of the field. Bajoni takes it in turn number 3, sets it hard. Back on the loud pedal, flashes across. It's Bajoni. Then back to Brian McLeese, Jeff Helton, and Bob Bajoni in the 98. Behind him will come the 8 of Dan Lonsdale, a fast qualifier, trying to get up to speed. Single file out of turn number 4. California Carrot King, the veteran, in good style now. Chance at the movement. Up comes Brian McLeese, up underneath in that quarter panel, now backs off momentarily. And we see the 11 of Jeff Helton. Could be a change. Bajoni holds him off. A little better line underneath. This time, Brian McLeese and Bajoni gets back on the pedal. Good battle. This is the best of the heat races tonight. Back and forth, they seesaw. The veteran with the horsepower. The handling goes to Brian McLeese. Now in spot number 2 goes the 11 of Jeff Helton, gets the Ford powered. He'll try the outside. The inside did not work for McLeese. We'll see if Helton can handle it. Tucks up right behind and gets that little bit of draft as they get up to about 130 on this heat race to 140 miles an hour on the straightaway. Take it out of 4, the off camber, they'll shoot across, dive in one more time. Bajoni holding on for dear life. If he had a mirror, it'd be full of the 11 car of Jeff Helton. Helton looks outside. Now he'll try inside as those two have broke away from the 3rd place car of Brian McLeese. Again, he sees it goes, white flag, 1 to go, drops it off the camber into turn number 1, sets it hard, bounces over the wheel, and he says that's all we need as he exits. Bajoni now in the lead again. Turn number 3, the veteran out of Soledad, California. It's going to be a battle of the line. They'll drag race it out. It's Bajoni McLeese, Art Bajoni. Hey, how about it for the geriatrics? Let's run out right now and pick up another quart of Geritol.
What's up, Doc?
I love it.
66-year-old Art Bigioni is a 40-year veteran of the Super Modifieds, and he's also your third heat winner tonight. He's standing by now with Scott Ellsworth.
All right, we're here with Art Bigioni, who just won the heat race. Art, it had to be feeling pretty good out there because the car was really hooked up.
Yeah, it felt real good. You know, it's been a while since we won anything, and I need a little booster shot because I've been a little dejected here lately, so this is going to help quite a bit.
Well, Helton got into you there on the rear tire just a little bit, and you were able to hold him off.
It was just a racing accident. I know he was running a little faster than I was, but I had the pole covered, and I figured I could have ran harder, but I didn't want to mess up and lose it. So I could have ran quite a bit harder, but I knew when I had the pole, it's pretty tough to pass out there. So I knew that I had it pretty well covered as long as I didn't give up the pole.
66 years old, soon to turn 67. Is there an end?
I don't know. You know, as long as I can win races and stay out of everybody's way and be competitive, I'll still race. Last year we set a couple of track records and won some races, and as long as I'm not a handicap. Of course, this kind of racing that we're doing, any kind of racing, nobody needs to tell you when to quit. I mean, these cars are fast, they're dangerous, and they're awful fast. So when the time comes that you know you haven't got it, I'll quit.
Maturity.
But right now, I'm still enjoying it and having a good time.
Maturity may pay off for Art Bigioni tonight.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll have more WSMRA action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe after this timeout on Prime Sports. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Western States Super Modified Tour action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. I'm Todd Pickett along with Gary Cressy as our racing action continues. Scott Ellsworth is standing by with some more information from the pits. Let's go downstairs to him. Scott?
All right, we're here with Troy Regier as Troy sits up on the pole for the start of this 50-lapper. Troy, tell us what is in store for us here for 50 laps. Can he stay out front?
Well, I think we can. We did it at the Vukovic Memorial this year, and it sure would be nice to do it at this Rebel Jackson Memorial, and I think we got a good chance of doing it.
50 laps, going to be a lot of traffic to contend with.
Yeah, it's going to be the only tough part. Hopefully we'll get some good breaks and bring it home for the win.
All right, Troy Regier sitting on the pole.
Gary, let's take a quick minute to talk about some of the specs on these cars.
Well, actually, these cars probably have the most horsepower per pound of any car that races on these short type tracks, as we call the short ovals, up to 3/8. And you'll have to watch, they have 454 cubic inches up to 488 cubic inches and gives tremendous thrust. You'll watch them diving in the corners and coming out as like a hole shot, and they're just absolutely the fastest on the oval of any track in America, of any car, I should say.
A lot of downforce from the wings, but also the weight's interesting here, and talk about the offset a bit.
Yes, and it's so different than most stock cars, as we just watch them go up to 24 inches, and that's offsetting from the center where it would be, and then 70% left side weight. You'll see the driver sitting almost over the wheel, and this gives them a chance to dive in. They brake hard, and it's so much force coming right back out again. It just makes it tremendous, but the setup has to be perfect.
Time now for an update on what's taking place in the pit area. Let's go to Scott Ellsworth.
On the outside of the front row will be Jeff Helton. Jeff, what is going to be in store for us come turn number 1 when the green flag flies?
Well, hopefully everything will be a clean start and we'll get going good. Troy's going to try to beat me to the start, and I'm going to try to beat him, so we'll see what happens.
How important is it to lead here early on?
It's really not. I mean, as long as you're up in the top 4 or 5, leading the first lap early is not going to help anything. The tires will start going away later on, probably halfway through the race, 3/4 of the race, and that's when it'll start getting real difficult.
Then at that time you'll be in a lot of traffic.
Right, exactly.
All right, he'll be sitting on the outside of the front row.
Here's a look at the rest of the season schedule. On August 24th, the 5th Bayshore Mall Classic at Redwood Acres Speedway. September 21st, the racers will head to Madeira for the 25th Harvest Classic. On October 5th, it's back up to the Northwest. South Sound Speedway hosts the Northwest Fall Classic. October 19th, the Fall Open Wheel Championship at Madeira Speedway. And the season wraps up November 3rd with the 2nd WSMRA Championship at Altamont Raceway Park. Randy Bauer is the defending champion in this race. He's standing by trackside with Scott Ellsworth. Scott?
Inside of row number 2, Randy, these guys up front said that they're going to try to lead on the first lap. What is your plans?
We'll see what they do and go from there. It's kind of up to them whether or not they're going to lead on how they get through this first corner, and you just kind of go with what they give you. If they give us a spot to go, we'll try running there. If they don't, we'll just kind of bide our time and see what we can do from there.
They're talking about tires maybe going away midway through this race. How do you conserve tires?
You gas her when you got it, and you run as smooth as you possibly can and try to keep the back end underneath the car, and you know, save yourself something, because these cars, once they lose tires, they get to be pretty handful.
Well, Randy, we also noticed that you have siped this rear tire over here on this side of the race car. What is that all about?
That's something we always do. It basically just dissipates the heat in the tire, and hopefully makes it live a little bit longer.
All right, back up to Todd in the booth.
Stay tuned. We'll have more WSMRA action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe after this timeout on Prime Sports. Welcome back to Evergreen Speedway in Monroe. We're just about ready for the running of the 3rd annual Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial Classic. And welcome back as the Western Super Modified Racing Association presents the Western States Super Modified Tour here on Prime Sports. 50-lap main event. You can see the field out warming up, getting ready to go for this race. And before they get started, Gary, let's take a minute and set this field, which has the top 4 men in the point standings among the first 5 positions.
You're right, Todd. And as we set in row number 1 out of Dinuba, California, the 10 car of Troy Reguer. Also, the 11 car of Jeff Helton from Madera, California. Row number 2, the 78 of Randy Bauer, Kingston, Washington, the defending champion of this event. And the 91 of Rick Veenstra out of Emmett, Idaho. Row number 3, the 11W, Rebel Jackson Jr., current point leader, hails from Burien, Washington. And the 8W of Don Lonsdale. He's from Kirkland, Washington, fast qualifier tonight. Row number 4, the 98 of Bob Bajoni out of Salinas, California. And the 22W of Dan Hayes from Issaquah, Washington. In row number 5, the 5W of Brian McLeese of Olympia. And the 24 of Jim Burns from Clovis, California. Row number 6, the 14C, the veteran 66-year-old Art Bajoni of Soledad, California. And the 7 of Lauren Reed from Kingsburg. Row number 7, the 26 of Mike Brewing from Edmonds, Washington. And the 44 of Jerry Halsey from Tacoma, Washington. Row number 8, the 32 of John Dahl from Linwood. And the 76 of Dennis Kitts from Puyallup. In row number 9, the 37, Harold Evans from Littleton, Colorado. And the 49W of Randy Anderson, Tacoma, Washington. Row number 10, the 1 of Dave Hamilton of Boise, Idaho. And the 9C of Rod Rothgarn from Fresno. Row number 11, the 14W of Axel Walker of Olympia. And the 09 of Todd Coleman rounding out the field. Row number 12, the 51 of Joe Prieslak. And not making the field is the 2W car of John Dudley from Sumner. We have 1 lap to go as we get set for the 3rd running of the Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial 50 for the Western Super Modified Racing Association. Beautiful field of cars as we get set right now. On that point, the 10 of Troy Reguer. California driver gets up to speed. They'll kick it up. Now he has a little problem. We're in green. We'll go. Big jump on the 11 of Jeff Helton. Takes the forward power into turn 1. Takes it wide to the banking. Inside comes the 78 of Randy Bauer. It's the 11 of Helton. Then the 78 of Bauer. And back to the 10 of Troy Reguer. Got it going one more time. We'll take it wide out of turn number 1 to complete lap number 1. 49 to go. Your leader of lap number 1 is the 11 car of Jeff Helton. Helton now. We go to yellow. We go to yellow. 1 lap complete. We see a stall right now on the 1 of Davey Hamilton with a problem in the apex of 3 and 4.
Gary, while we take a look at Davey Hamilton's car, this is a young man that you wanted to talk about a little bit, a fellow who has reached a level that many of these drivers aspire to.
Absolutely. Of course, Super Bowl for a super modified driver would be the Indy 500. He raced there this year for A.J. Foyt. We find out he just signed another contract through the 1997 season, and he kicks it off for him. Their first race of their season will be next week in Loudon, New Hampshire. Davey Hamilton with 81 career wins, 11 championships, and currently sits 9th in the IRL. What a great run for a handsome young 34-year-old out of Boise, Idaho.
Stay tuned. We'll have more WSMRA action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe after this timeout on Prime Sports.
Mariner fans, tune in a half hour before our next home game telecast and warm up with the Mariners live on Prime Sports. Host Rich Walsh delivers up-to-the-minute highlights and news from around the league and takes an in-depth look at the night's matchup with Lou and the broadcast crew. Monday at 6:30 on Prime Sports.
Tonight's super modified race is sponsored in part by Eastlake Utilities, subdivision and commercial land development. See Eastlake Utilities for your sewer, storm, water mains, clearing, and grading needs. And we're back once again, a beautiful August night at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe as WSMRA action continues.
Davey, not the way you wanted to start this one.
No, unfortunately it isn't. I think the car was actually going to be pretty good, and it's going to be a lot of fun actually starting in the back trying to come through that, but track's a little rough, and it looks like we got a water fitting on the bottom of the motor that broke off, so that ended our day pretty quick.
Will you try to get back out?
That doesn't look like it.
Davey Hamilton not ending the day the way he would like.
Little modifieds. Thousands of horsepower, $1 million worth of cars out of turn number 4. Back on the loud pedal, they'll go. Randy Bauer looks inside, won't happen. Troy Regier to the outside. Now Randy Bauer inside hole, kicks up the rebel strips, lights it up, turns up the wick all the way into turn number 3. We've got one that's already exited. We'll complete lap number 1, and our leader, the 78 of Randy Bauer, defending champion. Then back to Troy Regier in the 10, and the 91 of Rick Veenstra running third. In fourth is the 11W of Rebel Jackson Jr. Randy Bauer, 78, and the 10 of Troy Regier, Rick Veenstra, the 11 of Rebel Jackson Jr., and then the standard 11 of Jeff Helton. That's your top 5. We have completed 2. We'll have 3 at the paint. Good lead. He pulls it out to about a 5-car length lead. Veenstra now works on spot number 2, but Randy Bauer all by himself. He's the one that said he would keep it very cool, very calm, and try to save those tires for the last third of the race, and we'll see if he has, Todd.
He's got 2 wins already this season, including a big win in the Copper World Classic.
And boy, that is big time speed. Whoa, we have a bar spin, and the yellow comes out into the wall real quick, hits it hard, and then bounces up one more time. Cannot get it stopped. Looks like the throttle is stuck as he just keeps powering in. That is the...
I think that's Joe Prieslak in the 51,
51,
Gary.
the Denver, Colorado driver. He could not get that shut off, as you can see, and he is throwing dirt all over the track, bringing out our first yellow after 1 restart. We have completed 4 laps. We're back here at Evergreen Motor Speedway for the 3rd running of the Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial 50. We just completed 4 laps. The yellow flag coming out, our first yellow, as the 51 car Prieslak hitting the wall in turn number 4. Everything's cleaned up, and our leader, and he got it on the get-go out of the 3rd spot, the 78, our defending champion, Randy Bauer, and he kicks it up as we go back to green and clean into turn number 1. It's Randy Bauer, and then we have Troy Regier in the 10 running 2nd. Right after him comes Rick Veenstra. That's 1, 2, and 3. Rebel Jackson now moves up into spot number 4 in the 11. Back after Rebel will come the 98 of Bob Bajoni. Bajoni has moved up several spots. Also Lonsdale and Jeff Helton as we round out our top 10 with a 22 of Danny Hannibal Hayes. Sizable lead now for the 78. The youngster out of Kingston, Washington in the 78 California-based car, and that's Randy Bauer. Regier and Veenstra inside the orange 91. They touch, they scratch, no foul. We have completed lap number 7. 50 make the distance. We have 43 to go. We watch Randy Bauer as he will be coming up to some of the back markers in about 2 or 3 more laps. He toured that one in just a little over 15 seconds in absolute qualifying speed. Has it set perfectly so far, Todd.
Bauer's just doing a super job, and as you said, really it's the back markers that are going to be the only thing to impede here in the opening laps of the race.
Absolutely, and he has them just a straightaway ahead of him now. We've got kicked up some dust on the backs, but we're still all ahead go. Our leader, the 78 of Randy Bauer. Good battle for that 2nd spot with Troy Regier in the 10. And Rick Veenstra, the 91, he'll try it inside. His car holds, kicks up ripple strips, goes across side by side. That's for position. Veenstra stays down low. Car sticks well. He'll go spot number 2 on lap number 10. We're working on 11. Our leader into traffic. He'll slip by right now as he gets under the 14 car, and that's Axel Walker out of Olympia, Washington, the first to go down a lap to the field. Now they move out for him and give him a little bit of room. Next one is Todd Coleman, the 09, and we go back to yellow with 11 laps complete. Yellow flag coming out, and a problem.
I think that's Veenstra's car, Gary.
Absolutely. He could have broke something when he rode up on that tire when we washed him out of turn number 4 a couple laps ago. Car held very well. It went down low in turn number 1. He took over spot number 2, and then a problem.
qualifying again tonight, the guy they call the Rocket Man, and unfortunately, I think it's going to be a long, long time for the Rocket Man.
All the way from Emmett, Idaho. Very early exit for him. Obviously, his chance for victory now by the boards as we are under our second yellow of the evening.
Gary, let's take a look here on our TV monitor at Veenstra.
We see him as he'll dive into the corner right now. Not a problem. Now he just breaks, looks down, something broke. He reached down like it went out of gear. You could see him look down. Great shot by our camera crew from Prime Sports. Excellent.
Time now for an update on what's taking place in the pit area. Let's go to Scott Ellsworth.
Rick, can you tell us what happened?
Well, it appears we either lost our ring and tenure to the quick change gears in the rear end.
What a difference a year makes. Last year with the track record on the 5/8 mile oval, and here out very early.
Yeah, last year we ran out of fuel running second. Still got to refuel on a yellow and come back up to finish fourth. And tonight I really think we had them covered. Randy wasn't getting away, and I had to run a abnormal line to get around Troy, and I think we'd have run Randy down on a hurry, but ifs and buts, who knows.
Back up to you guys in the booth.
We'll see as we're back to green. They hit the cones. They're on their way. Good jump again by Randy Bauer. Troy Reguer runs second. And Rebel Jackson in third spot now. Then we go back to the 98 car. Has moved up. Bob Ajoni is in fourth. In fifth, Danny Hannibal Hayes in the 22. That's a team car, Rebel Jackson. Hayes looks very good. We see a pass in the back. Lonsdale in the 8. Moves under. Poor position from Brian McLeese. They have a little bit of a bump. Our leader is clear. We complete lap number 13. Tremendous amount of power, Todd, as you can see him just kind of shoot off of that corner. What a beautiful. That's where you mesh it with the pedal. You can watch him just now smoothly take it out, sets it, a little bit of a bump, and away he's gone.
It's a real sight just to see that deceleration, acceleration each lap.
You need a neck brace on these cars. The battle for second place, we follow that with Reguer and Rebel Jackson Jr. Jr. underneath him, gets him right up alongside, tries to cover that rear tire, cannot. He'll back off momentarily. Out front is our leader, the 78 of Randy Bauer. Boy, just smooth as glass, and he has caught these much quicker. After about 5 laps, he'll now be to some back markers. Again, Rebel Jackson looks underneath, has a better line. They'll come out side by side of 4. Reguer closes the door. Reguer, the 10, is in second. The 11W of Rebel Jackson in third. And then we go back to the 98 of Bob Bajoni.
You know, we talked earlier with Rebel Jackson Jr. about the significance of this race. It would mean so much to him to get a win after coming so close the first couple times out.
Absolutely. Ran out of gas when he was leading by a half a lap with a lap to go. He knows that problem. But now he has dropped back about 2 car lengths. Our leader is really in full song. They're racing side by side just ahead of him. Randy Bauer knifes his way through. He's a ferry ride from Monroe in Kingston, Washington. They use the move over flag. That's the blue with the yellow to tell the back markers that our leaders are coming up. Reguer settled comfortably in the second spot in the 10. Then the third is the 11 of Rebel Jackson. Fourth, the 98. That's Bob Bajoni out of Salinas, California with a good run. And fifth, the 22 of Danny Hannibal Hayes. Back behind them will come the 8 of Lonsdale and the 5 of Brian McLeese.
There's 21 laps in the book, and Randy Bauer has led from the start.
He certainly has, Todd. He picked it up really early, and now he doesn't have to fight anybody else, as Reguer in that 10 car has his hands full of Rebel Jackson. The only thing Randy Bauer has is about $5,000 in his pocket if he maintains a trophy and an easy go. But that's all from the setup. That's all from being a great young driver. And he looks underneath one more time, and he drops it over the Rebel strips, kicks up a little dirt, and gets past the 76 car. That's Dennis Kitts, the midget driver from Puyallup, Washington.
There's a look at Troy Reguer, and he's had a little bit of a problem getting through the markers. It's taken him longer to get through the field.
Certainly has. He's not looking at front as far as he's looking at the back. Rebel Jackson had a good run at him. But now Reguer is settled in. he's comfortable as we'll watch our leader.
A look at Rebel Jackson Jr. Meanwhile, Randy Bauer halfway through this 50-lap race.
With about an 8-second lead. That's a tremendous lead for these cars. Yellow is out.
Got some debris down in turn one.
Looks like.
You're watching action from the Western States Super Modified Tour. It's coming your way on Prime Sports.
We'll go green on lap number 26. 25 complete. We're halfway through the 3rd annual Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial 50 with Randy Bauer trying to make it 2 in a row. Good action in the back right now as we watch that second place, Todd. Reguer in second. He's trying to hold off Rebel Jackson in the 11 car. Moving up also in the 98, Bob Bigioni having a good run. 2nd generation driver out of Salinas, California. His dad hails from Soledad. I think they own the carrot patch between those two cities.
We looked at the starting grid for this race with so many of the points leaders up in front. There just has been no competition for Bauer so far.
No, and he's pushing clean air right now as we see another one exit. Bauer is doing a masterful job. Jerry Halsey out of Tacoma, Washington is taking it towards the pits. His evening ends early as we have completed 29. Working on lap number 30. There'll be 20 to go at the stripe. Bauer not pulling away quite as far as he did last time as Rebel Jackson works on spot number 2. Jackson tried high on the outside. Now he'll try to get a good rotation off of turn number 2. Puts it in full song into turn number 3. At the same time, our leader exits turn number 4. Randy Bauer, 78. Roy Reguer in the 10 with his hands full right now. Rebel Jackson Jr. is on the charge. He'll drop it back in as we watch him out of turn number 4. Right up to him. Gets that off camber. Now he'll take the inside move. Reguer closes the door cleanly.
Number 4 in the point standings against number 1, and Reguer has managed to shut him down every time around the oval right now.
All working just to the tremendous advantage for the 78 of Randy Bauer. As our camera on Bauer all by himself into traffic. No way you pass now. Reguer again closes that door as they are down the long back chute. They told us today estimated up to 140 miles an hour for these Thunder cars. Super Modified, the Western Super Modified Racing Association. They combine the California and the Washington Northwest Racing Association for one group, working out very well.
Randy Bauer working on his 45th career feature victory, and so far there isn't anybody who's really threatening to take it away from him.
No, he's 29 years old. Fine youngster. Boy, he is pulled out to a tremendous lead as he flashes under the back marker. About 3 in a row. Randy Bauer is sitting very comfortably. He now gets around Harold Evans, the veteran. We'll watch right now.
Rebel Jackson Jr. just moving past Reguer finally brought a big roar out of this crowd.
Absolutely. Change of position. Now he'll set sail after our leader. He was quicker than Reguer, but Reguer driving very cleanly, closing the door each time on him. That's now changed perspective as Rebel Jackson has a sight set. You can almost see the intensity as he sits up, goes underneath. And you know, on the radio contact, they're telling Bauer right now it's Rebel Jackson behind you. That changes the ball game and the float a little bit.
They'll only have 10 laps to try to catch Bauer the next time they come across the start-finish line.
Boy, these guys, the 15-second lap really click them off quick. 39 inches high. Can you believe that? That's up to your knees as they sit down low. We see another one moving on out. The veteran Art Bigioni out of line.
I've got it about 4.5 seconds unofficially there, Gary, just eyeballing it.
With 9 laps, that could absolutely be insurmountable. Bauer has gotten back on the pedal. trying to make it 2 in a row. Rebel Jackson runs hard. Now 2 other cars have passed Regere's. He's dropped back to spot number 5. Going around him, Bob Bajoni has now moved into spot number 3 in the 98. And Danny Hayes in the 22 in spot number 4. Regere back to number 5 after a good run. He had to burn those tires out trying to hold him off. A handful of fingers will be all that's left, Todd, as we come the next time. You watch Randy Bauer smoothly again. We complete lap number 45.
Yep, Bauer can exhale a little bit. Rebel Jackson Jr. still making a push, but he's got one more car to get around before he can close in on Bauer, and time is running out in a hurry.
Certainly is. He gets under Jeff Helton in the 11. But all this time, he is a quarter of a lap behind. Now's the time you hear the extra things that doesn't handle the way you think it should as we count them down. Working on lap number 47 at the stripe, our leader, Randy Bauer, the youngster, 29 years old, out of Kingston, Washington, has that California Super Modified in full song down the backstretch. Absolutely a full straightaway now, Todd, not letting up a bit. Some traffic ahead of him, but not many laps left.
2 to go for Randy Bauer, and he may not need that ferry boat to get home tonight. He may just be able to float back over to Kingston. He has dominated this race.
You bet. Rebel Jackson in second spot. In third, Bob Bajoni in fourth, Danny Hayes in fifth, Troy Regere, and you can see his tires go away. The white flag is out. We follow our leader into 1. He rotates beautifully out of 2. The checkered flag in the hand of our starter, Tony Otto. A few cars ahead of him. It's going to be 2 in a row. Kingston, Washington, 78, Randy Bauer. Great run for the youngster. Rebel Jackson, spot number 2. Hayes grabs a spot on the last lap, goes third. Bob Bajoni fourth, and then Troy Regere would be fifth. That's unofficial standing. Super run. They were up and down extremely quick.
Stay tuned. We'll have more WSMRA action from Evergreen Speedway in Monroe after this timeout on Prime Sports. Again, a beautiful August night at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe as WSMRA action continues. And let's go down to Scott Ellsworth with our race winner. Scott?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's a very happy gentleman. We talked to him about 45 minutes ago. We talked about siping on the tires. It sure seemed to have paid off for you, Randy.
I'll tell you, I just asked you guys, the right rear, you could tell it was getting towards the end down there. Track was getting pretty greasy, but these guys gave me a fantastic race car. I mean, I just went along, kind of cruised. That thing was so good. They kind of opened the door on the first corner there, and I just went through the hole, and gosh, you know, I just took my time from there. And these guys, Spirit of Matera team, Solwasser Farms, Verna Carroll Wrights, the whole team, they do a fantastic job, and I really get to go have a lot of fun, and I appreciate every bit of it. I got to thank them very much.
All right, back up to you guys in the tower.
Thank you very much, Scott Ellsworth, and congratulations to Randy Bauer. Back-to-back victories in the Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial. There's a look at the crew gather around, take a few photos, and we'll be back to wrap things up from Evergreen Speedway. Stay tuned as we'll continue from Monroe right after this timeout on Prime Sports. Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, the Western States Super Modified Tour, the 3rd annual Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial is in the books. And it was close, but no cigar again for Rebel Jackson Jr. He is standing by right now, trackside with Scott Ellsworth.
All right, we are here with Rebel. Rebel, it's not where you wanted to finish, second spot, but I bet you'll settle for that here tonight.
Yeah, on the championship outlook, second spot's great. But I don't come to this race especially to run second. I don't go to any of them, but this one is really tough. We've run second to Randy twice now, so looking forward to coming back next year and taking care of him. He's getting real tough at this place, 5/8 and a 3/8. In fact, they've been tough all year. So we just go home, rebuild them, and start over.
They said you were a bit loose, and they were hoping for a red flag to tighten you up a little bit.
Yeah, their master's understatement. I was a ton loose, and we were really hoping for a red flag, get that wing bump back a little bit. But, you know, you don't always get what you want, and we just run what we had to tonight.
Back upstairs.
Thanks very much, Scott Ellsworth. So Randy Bauer, number 2 in the season point standings, comes up with a victory tonight over the season points leader, Rebel Jackson Jr. But Boy, I think Bauer dominated a race about as much as anybody you'll see on any circuit, Gary.
Absolutely, Todd. And, of course, we would have liked to have seen a little more of Davey Hamilton. He exited very early on lap number 1 when he broke something. And Feenstra was going very well, too. But overall, it was a Randy Bauer show, 2 in a row for him, Rebel Jackson. And, of course, his team car with Dan Hayes finishing 3rd. A good show on here. We'd probably have him next year on the 5/8. Boy, that's lightning speed. That's up to 170 miles an hour then.
And that's scary because that's where the 2-time defending champ wants to race, so he'll be ready to roll for sure.
Certainly will, and we look forward to that, and we look forward to the rest of the season for the Super Modifieds.
Gary, it's been a delight having you here. We sure appreciate all your expertise and really a good night of racing all around, but boy, Randy Bauer on top.
You bet. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks very much, Gary Cressy, and that will wrap things up. From the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, you see our top 3 finishers posing, but the night belonged to Kingston's Randy Bauer as he completes his 2nd straight victory in the Rebel Jackson Senior Memorial. For Gary Cressy, our entire crew at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, I'm Todd Pickett. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, so long, everybody.